Hello. Welcome to Ain't This the Fun podcast number 25. We are a quarter of a century old. Is that too grandiose?
No.
No, not
No.
nearly.
No.
Good. Okay. Well, welcome. We're lately been bi-weekly only. Hopefully I can fix that here in the future. But we are here with the usual bi-weekly guest, Mr. Erik Childress.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me back.
Of course. 2 weeks from now, you're being replaced.
Son of a bitch. A lot of that going around, but anyway.
Yeah. It's been a good 2 weeks for a lot of things. So it actually was hard to pare down the list to 3.
Really, you've had that good of 2 weeks since the last time we talked.
Well, as far as things you enjoy, yes.
Things you enjoy. Well, that's the important. As long as that outweighs. I mean, we all have to live, and that just sucks in general.
Yes.
But as long as the things that are out there for you to potentially enjoy or outright enjoy outweighing the
There's no outweighing.
There's
no outweighing. Remember, the reason for this podcast is we're living in a nightmare, a nightmare world. Yeah. So
that's all hearsay.
It's all made up. Yeah, in general, there's one of the things is going to be sort of a revisiting of something. Two things are new. A thing is new as of tomorrow, so I'm kind of excited about that. I streamed a little bit of Overwatch yesterday. It was the first time I did that in a while. Well, I haven't streamed Overwatch yet, so I did that. Because Overwatch 2 comes out October 4th. I'm kind of looking forward to that. Oh, that's not my thing I'm looking forward. I am, but that's not going to be my thing today.
Okay.
But in preparation for that, I played this like the last hurrah, the last anniversary thing. They do every holiday has a little kind of 2-week long, I don't know what you want to call it, like a event within the game where you can get skins for your people. Like Christmas, they have little Christmas outfit sort of thing, like someone might be Santa Claus or whatever. And if you win it, then you can play it. But the anniversary one it would be the 6-year anniversary of the game coming out, and the sequel is coming out in October. And so this is like the last anniversary before they midnight the thing. It's just gonna be gone, and you'll be playing the new one. And so I got on and did some of that for a little bit. I may do some more. But yeah, a bunch of weird, fun little things have happened. But
that's good.
Still got to work though.
That's good.
That's not fun, but
no. Well, I mean, whatever. That just keeps you. The work keeps you from observing the hellscape as much as possible.
So you don't grow in your appreciation of the finer things.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. That could just be one of our 3 every week, by the way.
What, Raising Arizona?
Yes.
Hell yes.
That should just. I mean, it might as well should be. It should just be one of ours. There's only 5 spots. One of them just always Raising Arizona.
I was thinking of a couple new ideas, and that was kind of actually that you say that.
Like a Hall of Fame.
Yes. So, well, at the end of the year, we're gonna have like I'm gonna try to do like an Avengers assemble kind of thing. It'll be like get you and Sergio and Morgan and John and Carlos and a bunch of people on like the Brady Bunch in this window. There'll be like 9 of us talking, and we'll kind of not we'll maybe do 1 or 2 each of like the so that's one of the things I was thinking of, and hopefully I can plan that ahead of time enough.
Sounds like fun. Yeah.
But the other thing is like you said, there should be some universal truths when it comes to just good stuff.
Yeah.
Like Raising Arizona, like you just said, is just good. So maybe again, we're trying to be positive.
Of course.
Being a critic, sometimes you have to be negative. And so even in life, a lot of shit's negative. But
that's right.
Maybe what do is sort of one-off episodes of things of a universal truth, like picking out one thing that makes no one can deny is good.
Right. Like, as I always say, if you don't like Tom Hanks, get the hell out.
Yeah, something's wrong with something is wrong with you.
Something wrong with you.
We're on Christmas time. You'll know probably what I will. We'll have to talk about something around Christmas time this year. I've never heard anybody. They may not like it as much as me, but I've never heard anybody say a bad thing about that one. So that would be, I think, a universal truth around Christmas time. That one of those kinds of things. But I had thought about that as well. So it's kind of funny that you mentioned Raising Arizona because, again, I don't think I've ever heard anybody ever not like that movie, even as quirky as it is. I think. Well,
probably because not that it's some obscure relic or something like that, but it's not the kind of thing that I think that even if you just go out in public and start talking about, not everyone is going to know it, but those who do. It's a universal truth. And so maybe it's not entirely universal. It's a universal truth among people who know better and have seen it, I suppose.
It's common knowledge.
It's common knowledge. Exactly.
I think that would be the common. All right, I'm making a note right now. Common knowledge is now the official title. If we do a one-off, you, me, whoever, of one thing, and we talk about that one thing the whole time.
I like that.
Something we like. It's common knowledge.
Do we need to explain?
Oh yes,
common knowledge.
I'll leave that for the first time we do that.
Do it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That could take a turn, but it's. Trust me, it's it's.
How dare you speak of him that way?
I'm not speaking positively.
Some people.
It's just a fact.
It is.
It's just a fact. It's common knowledge. Right. I thought everyone knew it.
I did too. Turns out, I guess not.
Apparently, I know more about that person.
You don't want to know too much about that person.
No, you don't. No.
But yeah,
that is an ultimate tease, by the way. That is just people are going to be tuning in for common knowledge at this point.
That's right.
Who are you talking about? Oh, you'll find out. Yeah, I shouldn't say it with a smile on my face, honestly. But
I also had an epiphany, and this happened.
I like those.
Yeah, and it was a good epiphany.
Okay.
Speaking of this podcast and speaking of kind of the new ideas and stuff, because what you just mentioned, because again, that's a good idea. I think we'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
But with Olivia Newton-John passing away, bummer.
Yeah.
We don't want to bring it too down, but she's awesome, and R.I.P. Olivia.
Yeah.
I found, as a matter of fact, the person I'm going to talk about. Not that it's one of my three, but since we're talking, she's the one who posted that video that I posted on Facebook. It's Linda Carter.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Who posted a video of her being formally invited by Olivia Newton-John to show up on Olivia Newton-John's, Christmas special or some TV special she was doing. Linda Carter as Wonder Woman being invited as Wonder Woman, like she's the character, to show up on Olivia Newton-John's special. And she posted it, and, I mean, come on. Two of my childhood crushes, and they're both obviously super fun people, at least the way they portray themselves. They don't appear otherwise.
Right.
But it made me stop and think, how we say on here, unfortunately, people are only acknowledged, their brilliance is only acknowledged upon death half the time. You talk about them, you appreciate them like we do here.
Right.
But really it's, the outpouring because, the person is unfortunately passed away.
Right.
But I was saying, this is a high goal, but I think it's a goal that I'm gonna push.
Okay.
I think I'm making a goal now. I'm gonna officially say it is that I would like to get Linda Carter on this podcast.
Oh.
I need to figure out a way because I'll never meet her in person. I don't even think she goes to cons. I've never seen her name listed at San Diego or even the big ones. I highly doubt she does that. She tours a lot. She sings, and even then, you could see her sing, but she's not going to talk to you. There's really no, you don't get backstage unless you know someone. I suppose you could get backstage passes to meet her.
I'll work on it.
I will probably never meet her. And she's also part of the Fallout family, meaning the Bethesda, the people who make the Fallout games. I think she was married to the ex-CEO or something, and so she's in Fallout 4 and stuff. And so I'm a fan of hers for many reasons.
Of course.
And of course, one of my first crushes ever. But regardless of all that, I mean, it would just be very interesting to talk to her.
Yeah.
And what a goal. Linda Carter. How cool would that be?
I'm really glad. I mean, goals could have just been one of my 3 this week.
Oh.
Just setting goals, because I can't. It's weird. It's really weird that you brought it up and used the word, because I think that word and that specificity came up in my thought process today about things that make you happy, could make you happy, or at least make you forget about the bullshit kind of thing. And goals are, it's not something like you could. It's not a hope thing. It's a realistic thing that you can set your sights on. Maybe not something so out there that you're going to get crushed if it doesn't happen, but something that's within your reach, that even if you have to work a little bit extra for, you go for it, and that gives you a sense of purpose. Not that you don't have one now, but
yeah, that's debatable.
Well, coming up on Fist on Patreon.
That's right.
But honestly, I mean, I that's something that I think is very helpful for just mental stability. I think. Again, I am not a doctor or psychiatrist by any stretch, but
no.
No.
Not Dr. Z or whatever the hell his name is.
Dr. Oz.
Dr. Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Oprah. But
you're not gonna get invited onto the O channel now. That's it.
Like, I give a fuck. Yeah. So anyway, but I think setting goals, not something, don't like set it something for like 25 years. Make it reachable.
Yeah,
give yourself a target. And I think that's a very positive thing for people to do. And it could be something grandiose. It could be something as simple as, I'm going to go on vacation. Whatever it might be. I'm going to do this. It's in my reach. I'm going to make sure it happens.
Yeah.
And in your case, it's just getting Linda Carter on your podcast.
She seems very positive. She's very outspoken. I think she would appreciate the theme of the podcast.
Yes.
I'd agree to not swear or whatever, other things she, whatever look. Right. Whatever Linda Carter says, you just do. You shut your mouth and you do it. Yeah, that's right. So it would be interesting, even if whatever. It just popped into my head, and I said, "There's a goal. Maybe I got 25 episodes of 50. If I could get, maybe if I say, hey, look, I'm hoping by 50 it'll be something spectacular. I'd love to have Linda Carter on.
Yeah.
She could talk about her singing and touring and Fallout. We could talk about Fallout and how she's associated with that. Talk obviously about Wonder Woman and the influence on that, and what she thought of the newer movies or DC Comics, and was she a fan and all that good stuff. It'd be neat. It'd be a dream come. Well, a dream come true would be to meet her. Right. But that would also be cool. So yeah.
Yes.
I thought you'd appreciate that too. So we're talking about some ideas.
Yeah.
So, what's up? Anything? It doesn't sound like you had a lot to be happy about. You said you were surprised I had a trouble picking.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you're like, oh, there's that much stuff. Like, it didn't seem like you had that much, or that anything happened recently.
No, it's been a weird week. I'm not going to get into details.
Yes,
here.
Of course.
Yeah. But it's just like I've been watching stuff, and I mean there are other things that I could have chosen, but I went a little off rails this week, a bit. The third one is a very standard pick, but the first two are different.
Okay.
And maybe it will give people some happiness in some respect. They're a little. One of them in particular is very broad, I'll just say. Okay. But no, I mean, there was nothing like I haven't gotten any big new Blu-ray release recently, or there's a movie or two I could have talked about, but I'm like, nah, I'm not going to talk about a movie this week. And the TV show that I am going to talk about, well, we'll get to that. That's going to be my number 3. So,
Okay.
little spoiler alert there. But yeah, I mean, we're in the sort of like the dog days of summer period, and usually the TV shows I usually like to wait until I've seen the entire run of something before I comment on. That's not going to be the case tonight. So I'm still waiting to finish one TV show that I probably would have talked about, but I didn't get a chance to. So yeah, it's been a week. It's been one of those weeks. So, but I have things. And hopefully it will inspire some people to be that there's hope out there. I don't know, but
well, if looking forward to Linda Carter doesn't inspire you in any way, shape, or form.
Hey, I'll be first in line.
Yeah, you're heartless. They're heartless. They're heartless human beings.
Yeah, you're just an awful person.
That's right.
Yes.
So, in this nightmare hellscape, which appears to somehow get worse every day, for numerous reasons. It's now month 28 in the nightmare hellscape. And that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to talk about some things that make us happy, bring us joy, make us smile.
Yeah.
And hopefully it gives people some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have ideas, I'd like them to put in the chat or the comments on here. That would be appreciated.
Yes.
So like I always say, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I think you should kick things off tonight.
Yeah?
You're just exploding your volcano of greatness
stuff
tonight. So
I'll take it.
Yes.
I have a sneaky suspicion that this may also be one of yours. Possibly not.
Is it a TV show?
No.
Then no.
Okay.
Because there's no way my 1 or 2 is on your list. There's just no way. If there is, I mean, just shut it down, because it's just.
Can I guess? Basket weaving.
What? Has nothing to do with basket weaving.
Okay.
No.
Right. I tried.
Or knitting.
Knitting.
Mm-mm.
Mine, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you have seen it.
Okay.
And there's going to be spoilers, so if people have not seen it yet, maybe pause or jump to the next section. On the YouTube video, you'll be able to jump right to the next section, so you won't have to worry. Audio, though, you're going to have to fast forward a little bit. So, mine is Prey.
Yeah. That's one of the ones I could have talked about.
Yeah, well you're going to talk about it, because I'm wearing my Predator laser pointer kitty shirt.
Nice.
You and I are both huge Schwarzenegger Predator fans.
Yes.
And I know this was one of your looking forward tos. So I know you were looking forward to it.
Because I heard such great things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like I said when you were talking about it, that I was not looking forward. I was a defender of Predator 2. I happen to like it. There are people who do, people who think it's stupid because it takes place in a city or whatever, and it's,
There's more Predator 2 love coming out. Maybe I shouldn't say love, but there's more Predator 2 appreciation coming out right now than there was in 1990.
Well, we know why, if you watch the movie, which is what I think I said I was hoping for, and they paid off, which is huge. I love it. I love world building. I love callbacks. I love interesting lore and expanding on stuff. And man, I don't know what you thought. I don't think I remember. I don't think you texted me what you thought.
I'm pretty sure I thought I could have swore I texted you.
Okay. I liked it a lot. And yeah.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Okay, good.
Oh
yeah. Because for Prey is only on Hulu. It's a full-length movie, not a TV show, which I think was a perfect idea. Spend the money, shove it into 2 hours. Don't make a 6-episode thing about it. This is what it deserved. And as much as the Aliens versus Predator movies really didn't do the source material a whole lot of justice, and the other Predator movies, I've only seen bits and pieces of, but universally, I think they've been, mostly panned. You kind of said you liked the last one a little bit, right? Not,
I kind of like the Shane Black one.
yeah,
It's
the
not,
Predator, right?
Yeah, it's not great. It's definitely a Shane Black film, so it's a little more. Goofy isn't the word, but it's got the humor. There's definitely an emphasis on it, and I like the it had a similar a vibe at least to the first one where there's a team basically, and a trained team. It's kind of like it was like Predator versus Dirty Dozen kind of thing.
Okay.
And I liked. I mean, it's kind of messy. There's clearly bits where they had to reshoot things and stuff, and so there's messiness to it. But I had fun with it. It's not great, but it was probably my second favorite Predator movie after the first one. Predator 2.
Really.
I'm still. I mean, I appreciate Predator 2, but I thought that this one, from front to back, like Predator 2, I like the second half very much. First half, nah. This one, it was a little more clean and consistent. I shouldn't say clean because it is messy, but yeah. So, but not anymore. Now Prey is my second favorite.
I mean, I really didn't anticipate it being this good. I really didn't. I was hoping it would be good. I was hoping I would enjoy it. I was hoping, like I said, for a couple little callbacks or something, to kind of give it a little fun to it.
Right.
It delivered on everything. The action is fantastic.
Right.
The story of the Native American girl who is not looked as a threat basically through the entire thing, even by her own tribe. Don't worry, her brothers like Hunter Supreme, and so why would anybody even pay attention to her anyway? Her brother's really the badass, and the tribe, the hunters in the tribe, the younger ones are, appear to be, badasses themselves, and no one cares. And you're either A, young, B, a girl, whatever. They just don't think she's worth it. And I'm going to preface this by saying, before I watched the movie, I happened upon, it wasn't an article, but it was like someone had acknowledged a tweet, and it was a tweet from a neckbeard who basically was, crabbing and moaning. I have a little bit of a beard on my neck, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
Yeah.
As soon as you said it, I knew.
Yeah. And he's, bitching and moaning like, you mean to tell me Dutch and the Marines from the first movie can't take out a Predator, but some 12-year-old girl is going to beat one up. Talk about, making typical.
Right.
A, she's a girl. B, it's only one of her. This is stupid, and I think someone's response was clearly someone who has not seen the movie. And I was like, okay, I wonder where they're going with that. Well, that's the beauty of it. They didn't just do that. They could have. They really could have. Just made her some lone warrior or hunter, and I'm going to prove myself, and she goes out by herself. She is a threat. But it really
go
is.
Against her.
No way. No way at all. But the French trappers, or Italian, I think it's French, right? The French came and did like hunting here, right? Like, so it was like French trappers, or maybe even Italian, or a mix, of Europeans.
On my podcast, I refer to them as douchebags.
There you go. Well, you mean the furriers, the people?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they're there, and then you have her team. The Native American hunters or warriors from her tribe,
right?
And then her brother, who's clearly a badass. And the fact that it's really kind of everybody who chips away a little bit here and there at the Predator, but ultimately, it's her initial idea with the lion that comes back. And works, and the brother acknowledges, I never would have done it without you. Okay, so now, her ability to heal and use medicine, which the other, that's a woman's job or whatever. There's medicine. Right. Again, I don't have knowledge of Native Americans, but it appears in this movie that the medicine stuff is the women's job, as opposed to, when we were little, they were called medicine men or things like that. It appears in this particular tribe, the grandmother knew something about healing, and this particular character also appears, like she was taught this, like you do that,
Right.
we'll go hunt. And then so you have this healing thing. She has knowledge that nobody else has in the tribe, which is great. And then you have the fact that she is actually also a badass.
Yeah.
They show her train. They show her, throwing that axe multiple times and hitting the same spot. They show, and when the furriers are getting just fucking demolished, and it's the Predator against, 7 or 8 of these furriers with guns, she takes off, and then she encounters like 3 or 4 of these furriers back at their little camp or whatever, and she single-handedly takes 2 or 3 of them down. And that gives you a sense of she isn't just throwing the axe. Like, you hear about her ability, but, when she's fighting the bear, you're like, okay, she only hit it once, and then she ran, so what is this that's going on? Well, clearly, when she fights those 2 or 3 trappers back at their little camp, they show how formidable she really is. And it's kind of they're showing you the Predator being a badass with 8 or 9, and then they kind of give you that same thing with her with these 3 or 4 guys that are bigger than her. And I thought it was really, really well done.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And you said, the action stuff, that's what you're going into. And the thing that I said, and you might even think that this is sacrilege, that the original Predator, which I still think is the best one, because that's the one that has the mystery,
yes.
It's the team, it's a combination of genres and all those kind of things. It was, the right movie at the right time kind of thing. And it's something that, sometimes those movies are kind of hard to let go of and not say that they're the best. But everyone's pretty much in agreement that, the first Predator is the best. Prey is now nipping at its heels. But the thing about Predator for me is that I think the weakest element in the entire movie is when it comes down to the one-on-one showdown between Schwarzenegger and the Predator. That is my least favorite section of the movie.
Really?
Always has been.
Oh, I like that part.
Well, I'm not saying it's like bad.
Right. I get it. Yeah.
I'm just, compared to the horror of it, the suspense, the action, the mystery of what this creature is, what it wants, and the way that these commandos, for lack of a better term, start shitting their pants at the prospect of it. And that's a whole other level of terror. It's very similar to Aliens, where you have the badass Marines show up and then, basically go into their Vietnam, and then they start all shitting their pants for the most part. And so when it comes down to Schwarzenegger versus Predator, well, who's going to win. It's not. Not.
When you really watch that first one, the way the Predator wipes everybody out,
yeah,
we never had a movie at the time, at least that I can think of, where the protagonist had died at the end. Even Alien, she gets away.
Right.
You're saying that. I don't think I thought about it then, but when you think back, him against the Predator, that Predator's so big, and when at the end, and when the Predator goes around that. The spike branch at the end, and you're like, that's it, he's dead.
It's
like it would have been very interesting for the Predator to kill him and take his skull and then get in his ship and fly away. That seemed completely plausible to me. I understand where you're going. It's less likely because it's Schwarzenegger.
I personally never believed it, and it becomes a matter of how interesting you're going to make that showdown. It takes place at night. So visually it's not as interesting as the rest of the movie in mostly daylight and in the jungle and everything. It works. It's still entertaining. But it's the part that but then going into this one, I never, it might be hypocritical, but I don't think she's going to die at the end of this movie. I think that they have to find a way for her to defeat the Predator. Otherwise, there's a whole other can of worms you might be opening up. But that one-on-one between the two of them, I think is better than the Schwarzenegger fight in the original.
Well, she appears more formidable than Schwarzenegger, which I'm sure people are complaining about online.
Wow.
But, she appears more formidable. Like, he goes toe to toe at 1 or 2 points, and the Predator just slaps him around. The beauty of this one is the Predator in the first one only gets shot a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
If it bleeds, we can kill it, kind of thing. So they shoot him a couple times, but other than that, he fixes himself up a little bit. That's it. He's fine again. He doesn't really get hurt till Dutch uses his makeshift grenades that he uses from the grenade launcher grenade.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he finally gets hurt. This one shows him being whittled away and whittled away and whittled away. So her eventual one-on-one is a little more fairly matched, and that I think
gets
was
a little
good.
bit of an assist too.
The what?
Yeah, she gets a little bit of an assist during that final battle. Close to it,
the dog.
So, but even that works for me. Yeah. That's all fine. I mean, again, all of that stuff was it's so exciting. It's so nicely done action wise. You're rooting for her. Obviously, you're completely on her side. The whole movie, you're completely on her side. I mean, her name, Amber Midthunder, is the actress's name. Yeah. And I didn't, at the time when I was watching it, I'm like, have I seen her in something before? And I had, and it was something I think, and you'll not know what this is. Probably nobody watching will know what this is. But there was a movie that played the Toronto Film Festival the year before. I think it was the year before. I think it was Toronto, called The Wheel. And it was about a couple going off into the woods to sort of fix their relationship issues and whatnot. And she was the woman in the relationship. And she played one of the singularly most annoying characters. I was just like the guy should have left a long time ago.
Okay.
Basically. And I was taken back to, I'm like, oh God. But then I went, oh man, she's so good in this that, that's, I know she wasn't playing herself in that other movie, but I was just like, it's not a great first impression when you come out of the box with something like that. But
of course, that's also not her fault. It's the part she has.
It's the part, right? But it's just, the way that, the whole movie is not good. But the way that it was almost a disservice to her that the character is written so specifically horrible, at least in my viewpoint. But in this one, I was just I want to see more of her, and the fact too that I've seen at least 2 of the original cast members of Predator praise her and Prey on Twitter.
Jesse Ventura, and Bill Dukes.
Bill Duke.
Yeah.
So I keep hoping, I keep waiting for Arnold.
He's gonna.
I hope so. I really hope so, because that would just be that's just again, shut it down. You've succeeded. So
Ventura's quote specifically in the tweet was great. What does he say? Welcome to the group. It was something.
I forgot the tweet.
I'll have to pull it up somewhere. But yeah,
but it was cool. Again, you referenced the neckbeards a couple of times, and I saw a tweet this very day, and someone said, all of these, whatever they called these people at the time, he said, all these people are, hemming and hawing, seem to forget about the fact that the Terminator was taken down by a waitress.
Yeah, true.
True. And again, I'm not demonizing waitresses here.
No, that's the whole point. Is
like that. That's it could be anybody. Ripley was not an action hero in Alien. She was thrust into a position. In Alien, she becomes an action hero out of maternal instinct. Was part of it. But it was also, vengeance and
fear and anger and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and that's why. But again, it's it can't just be our generation that looks upon. You've already mentioned Wonder Woman. Hero mentioned Ripley. I know that women heroes were not the norm when we were growing up, but God damn it, when they came along, they were killer. And again, I never. Maybe I shouldn't even say it, but I said something around the time that when all the stuff with maybe Force Awakens or some bullshit, all that bullshit was going on. I said something to the fact that I never thought of, Ripley was my hero. Didn't matter was it he or she, whatever. She was she was my hero. you know, and
she was a commanding officer on the ship, but
was a warrant
she was,
officer, yeah.
but she wasn't like,
no,
you know, like, here I have 12 guns and I'm a badass and I've always been a badass. She is a commanding officer on a vessel, and you know, none of those people were warriors as far as you can tell. She just is a survivor in that first movie.
Right.
The second movie, she takes its survival with the fear and the anger and the all that other stuff. She lost her daughter, becomes a badass. Then she becomes kind of, by the end, she's a soldier, really. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. What is it? The in the trailer for this Prey movie, it says they hunt, they live to hunt, but they hunt. Or wait, they hunt to live, meaning the Native Americans, but they live to hunt the predators. And that's a great thing. But in order to hunt, you have to be incredibly skilled.
Yes.
Especially doing it that way with a handmade bow and arrow, with a handmade tomahawk or axe, with, you know, that's all you got. Maybe some rudimentary traps.
Yeah.
You know, like, you have to be skilled. So to anybody to look at this and just be like, oh, this is so stupid, she's so stupid.
It's not the like, I mean,
because they take no time to just enjoy, like, the story makes sense to me.
Right. I mean, okay, you know, to be slightly fair, you know, whenever we see, like, you know, we just said Schwarzenegger versus the Predator, that seems like a reasonably matched fight.
Till the Predator lifts him off the ground and the Predator's 2.5 feet taller than him, yes.
Right, like Schwarzenegger versus Dan Hedaya in Commando is not going to be a battle. Okay, he needs a big gun to take down him, but you need, you know, Vernon Wells to be the guy that fights Schwarzenegger at the end. So, and like, even like the idea of like a James Bond character who's, you know, not a Schwarzenegger level, but is skilled enough. You want someone who's not kind of a little wimpy dude or something to do the mano a mano with. You know, like Pierce Brosnan going up against Jonathan Pryce is like, okay, well, what are you going to do with that? You know,
wasn't it Dave Bautista and whatchamacallit in Spectre?
Well, Dave Bautista was a henchman.
Didn't he fight him a little bit?
Oh, I think, yeah. I barely remember Spectre. Yeah. That's the worst of the Daniel Craig movies.
But, yeah.
But so there's that. But sometimes size, you know, that doesn't always matter. Skills is what matters. You know, and
Bruce Lee was not an incredibly massive human being,
right?
But I don't care who you are. Would you? Yeah. I don't care who you are. You could be a foot taller than him and probably give him 50 pounds of muscle on your side.
Yeah.
He would still beat the living crap out of you.
Right.
I wouldn't get... And he's not massive. You know, people make fun of Jean-Claude Van Damme or whatever, but you still wouldn't want to take a punch from him.
Yeah.
You know, he's not Schwarzenegger, but, you know... And again, Schwarzenegger's huge, but maybe he can't fight. That's why this story was so... Again, their response to it was, you know, clearly someone who hasn't seen the movie. The Predator was whittled down. And she was some of that undoing. And then it was whittled down to the point where she used the environment, just like Schwarzenegger did. So if you're going to argue skill, how about intelligence?
Right.
Right? So she's intelligent as well. Schwarzenegger did the same thing. Used the night to his advantage. She used her skills of medicine, you know, to cool her body temperature down. Then she used the bog that she had been... That's a great reversal, by the way, because you think she's going to use the mud to be cool. It turns out that's not. That's what she uses to kind of win the day. You know, they have the come on now, do it now. She's kind of has a play on that. If the brother, if it bleeds, we can kill it. Okay, funny, very good. The mud, but not used in the same way. Another good callback. But the thing I was kind of hoping for came to pass, which is the handheld not the revolver, the gunpowder gun.
Pistol.
The pistol.
Yeah.
Raphael Adolini, 1715 engraved, and that's the one that Harrison gets on the Predator ship at the end of 2. Turns out it's the translator for the furriers in this movie that he gives her the gun in order for him to attempt to save his life. And then that's passed on to the elder and the tribe at the end of the movie, and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, this is great. It's just a little bit of lore, a little bit of connection. It's all you need. It doesn't need to be ham-fisted or any of that stuff. It's just a little bit, and it's so good. And I don't know if you're aware, but in the comics, Dark Horse did a short called Predator 1718 or something like that.
Okay.
And it's about a pirate, and they're doing their treasure hunting. Obviously, like pirates are prone to do, I guess. And his crew becomes mutinous.
Okay.
And as they're fighting him, the Predator, in this case, a different, like they always are, it's another Predator. And initially, he's going to kill everybody, but he kind of comes to this pirate captain's aid. And it's the pirate captain and the Predator against the mutinous crew. And at the end, you think, uh-oh, now it's going to be the two of them fighting each other. And one of the pirates that they thought they'd killed shoots the pirate in the back, and he dies. And the Predator was like, wow, this guy, again, mutual hunting respect, your abilities to survive and kill. The Predator buries the man, but before the pirate dies, after being shot in the back, he hands him his pistol.
Oh.
And that's how that Predator gets it, which you assume then becomes the Predator in Predator 2. So they didn't go with that story. But they did it justice. I found this just as entertaining.
And someone suggested that this is, because the Predator franchise was basically dead. It was, the last Predator, the Shane Black one came out, and everyone was just like, this is going to be the one that revitalized, and it didn't do the business they were hoping for. But everyone is now saying, first of all, they're saying, like, put this movie in theaters, this is where it belongs, all that kind of stuff, and to which I'm like, I appreciate the sentiment of that, and that's what we'd like all these movies to do. If you're looking at a business side of things, it wouldn't have been a great play. It probably would not have. It's got no stars. It's just a Predator movie. Not that the last Predator had like some big above the name people, but it was some recognizable names. This one didn't have that, and if you were opened up against Bullet Train, it's just. It was not going to do huge business. It would have done some business, but it probably would have been the lowest grossing Predator since the Adrian Brody thing. And
you don't think it would have gotten word of mouth, like maybe second, third week, it would have blown up? Like, oh my God, you got to go see this.
I no, because I think that this is so very specific that those people that would have been doing the word of mouth, they've already been out there. And I don't know how many people they would have been able to convince to go out to the theater. It's like, hey, there's actually a really good Predator movie out there now. Because, none of the Predator movies have been super successful.
Sure.
They just haven't. Okay? So, I'm just looking at it from a business standpoint. Maybe I should work for Warner.
Would you? They need it.
Yeah.
Would you, if Hulu turns around or whoever decides to deal with this now, because if I'm not mistaken, Fox now owns the rights, so Disney now owns the rights to Predator.
Yeah.
If they decide, look, this is getting, it's now I think the highest, most viewed Hulu original ever.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. If it gets enough hype.
Yeah.
And they do one of these like, we've heard ya. We're going to put it in the biggest, craziest theaters like your local IMAX, blah, 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 for one weekend only. We're going to put it out there so you can watch it in true, D-Box Super XD fashion or whatever. Yeah. And would you go?
Probably not.
No? Oh, I would.
It has nothing to do with the quality. That's just me.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't. I like the movie very much. I don't know if I like the movie. If I was taking someone who had not seen it, that to me there's interest in that. Sure. I would not just go to the theater by myself to see it, or necessarily to see it with someone like you we've both seen it.
I would want to take someone who hadn't.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
There I can see benefit for it. That can be fun. But yeah, just going, just plunking down $8.50 or whatever it might be anywhere to go see a movie that I saw before the movie even played on Hulu, probably not. But again, I don't know. yeah, I don't think I think people get a little ahead of themselves when they start thinking in this respect. Like, oh, this movie should be in theaters. I'm like, okay, well, hold on a second. Think about the economics of it. If this movie went out in theaters and bombed, it doesn't matter how good it is. If it goes in the theater and bombs, you're not getting another Predator movie. You might now.
Oh, they're down. Well, you saw the credits.
Yes.
And you saw the beauty. They didn't do a tag at the end of the credits. They did couple little snippets of animation at the end of they have these caveman-like. I know I'm probably not saying that correctly, but sort of stick figure rudimentary drawings, and they sort of very little bit of animation going on, but it's sort of like a recap of the movie. And then at the end, she brings the heads. There's a little drawing of the head, blah blah blah,
right.
And then 2 or 3 more little frames of animation of Predator ships breaking through the clouds. And you're like, that didn't happen in the movie.
Right.
Like, fun. Yeah. I thought that was really well done, too. Yeah. I was like, genius. Yeah. You don't even need a big tag at the end of this credits. That's fun. Right. You got my mind working now. That's great.
Yeah. And as people are rightfully getting ahead of themselves and doing their own sort of fan fiction, people are saying, like, well, this is how you keep the series going. You keep the world building going, and you just considering now you can just drop the Predator anywhere, drop him into the Civil War, drop him onto a pirate ship, like you said, just drop him, during the Declaration of Independence, whatever it might be, just drop him somewhere where you can play up the history and just have him disrupt shit.
Prehistoric.
I
mean, come on. Yeah. What better thing to fight than a woolly mammoth or a T-Rex, right? Right. Or I love the idea of exploring. I think the race, the Predator race is called like the Yukti. Mm-hmm. And so like imagine having a movie set on their planet. What does it really take to be like when you want to go to prepare? Every Predator's different.
Yeah.
They outfit themselves differently. They choose their weapons. Why do they choose the way they do? Are they like a tribe system? Are you individual? Mm-hmm. The idea of it being anywhere, anytime, any Predator, doesn't have to be the same one, is, how many short stories, comic books, I mean, I have a ton back here. I have a whole series of Predator comic books, like from Dark Horse.
Yeah.
The stories are never ending. To expound on that just a tiny bit before we move on, because I don't want to take too much of your time. Like I said, Disney now, because they bought Fox, now owns the rights to everything Fox, including Aliens and Predators. And I guess there was a guy suing them because he believed he had a portion of the rights when they were owned by Fox. And so they had announced, Marvel did, that they were doing Aliens books, which they did, and I gave you issue 1 of their new the Marvel series.
Yeah, I got it over here.
Yeah. Well, I guess the rights finally got worked out.
Okay.
And so Marvel's finally doing the Predator books. So a few weeks ago they started with, they do homage covers. And so like when the Predator book started that month, the variant cover, the main cover would be like Captain America like fighting a Predator, so he'd be like scratching the shield or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So this month is all Predator books. The only 2 I could grab that they had, I ran out specifically today because it was Predator Day. But this one, he's fighting Blade.
Sure.
Of course, on the Avengers cover. And then Spider-Man. He's hiding out, trying not to get killed by the Predator. Sure. Let me move that over. Mm-hmm. Spidey tingling there.
Yeah.
And then issue 1 of Predator came out today. Like I said, I haven't been to my normal place in a few weeks, but I had to run out today to get these just because I wanted to make sure I got the covers I wanted. Yeah. But so this is issue 1 today. That's the main cover. How badass is that?
Nice.
Then they always have him fighting a hero or whatever, some Marvel character. So there's him on Avengers Tower with the Iron Man helmet and the spine in his hand.
Nice.
That's so great. And then there's a guy named Scotty Young who does cartoon variant covers for a lot of the Marvel books. And so he did one of the Predator, the little silly cartoon predator. Super cute. So I ran out and got those today, not just for this, but because I'm a Predator fan, a comic book fan, and a Marvel fan. And so when that happens, like the Aliens ones I did, I couldn't help myself. I had to do that today. But I can't. Again, I don't think this is my absolute favorite action movie ever or anything like that, but this was way better than I thought. I really super enjoyed it. I think Mid Thunder is her last name. She's great. Yeah. I thought the brother was, very little in the movie, but I thought he did really well. The basketball player that they hired, some basketball player to play the Predator, I thought he was really good. The acting of him running around and doing the fighting and stuff, I thought that was great. And I really like Trachtenberg's direction, though. I just thought the movie was really well done. And if anybody hasn't seen it, you need to watch it. You'll miss out if you don't. It's really good.
Trachtenberg has only done 2 features so far, and the other one is 10 Cloverfield Lane,
which I also liked.
2 solid entries into existing franchises with female heroes in both of them, and both are solid. So the last 2 things I'll say about Prey. One, it made me think that we need more quicksand in movies.
Haven't had it in a long time.
I love a good quicksand scene. I really do, because they're terrifying. They kill white horses in kids' movies.
Oh, boy. That's traumatic for everybody.
Exactly. But I like the way that they do it in this one, and what she has to do to get out of the quicksand. I really enjoyed the hell out of that sequence. And also, the one thing I will say about the one kind of complaint I have about the movie was, I think the first half hour of the movie, as they're setting everything up and they're introducing you to all the Comanches in the tribe, I think the dialogue has I shouldn't even say I think it has a very modern sensibility to it in English. Okay?
Yeah.
There's it just seems very like it could almost be cosplay in some respect.
It felt weird that it wasn't like a broken English kind of.
Not even so much that it was a broken English, that it just, I'm not a historian.
Yeah, me either.
So I can't say specifically, but I mean there are words, phrases that just felt more modern to me than many other movies and books that I've read about that time period. And Hulu has, which I didn't watch because I didn't know it actually existed at the time, but when I wrote down my notes, they actually have a Comanche only track.
Yeah.
That you can watch on Hulu, and I actually would recommend people use that because I think it'll lend a greater authenticity to the story, and maybe reading some of the modern speak a little bit might not be as blatant when you're hearing it in an original language like that. So that would be my recommendation to people watching it. Watch it with the Comanche track on it.
Interesting.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
They said when she did her audition, she came in and she did it in English, and then he was like, "Hey, can you do that in Comanche?" Or she offered to do it in Comanche, and they're like, "Really?" One or the other. Regardless, she just threw down, did the scene in Comanche, and then he's like, "All right, do that same scene, no talking." So he did it in English, Comanche, and no speech. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, because there's not gonna be a whole lot. There really isn't a lot of speech, a lot of talking in this movie, and so a lot of it had to be acted with your face.
Once you get past the first act of the movie, I think there's a lot of talking. I think in the first act, as they're setting things up with the characters, and then later on, the less talking in the movie, actually, the more I enjoyed it. Actually,
you got If you've never watched it or you haven't, you didn't this week, you should watch it. It's really good.
Yeah. Okay, my first thing, and I'm going to repeat something I said earlier. I am not a doctor.
I'm a bad doctor.
I'm a bad doctor. See this? This is urine. Yeah, I asked for it, and they give it to me. Anyway, but remember a couple weeks ago when we went and saw Jedi at the CSO, downtown, Chicago Symphony Orchestra. We were there a bit early for it, and we were both hungry.
Yes.
And and I said I was fine, and you said you had to get something to eat. But you looked at me like, because it was like 6:45, 7 o'clock or whatnot, and I think I had mentioned something that I hadn't eaten all day, and you looked at me and you said, "What are you doing, the fasting thing?"
Intermittent fasting, yeah.
Right. And I said, "No, just not eating. I'm not hungry. I'll get something afterwards. It's fine. I don't like to eat on the run anymore. So there's that. It's kind of been part of my routine for a long time. But anyway, but now I am. I've been doing the intermittent fasting thing for about 3 weeks now. And I've gotten incredibly used to it. People who do not know what this is, I didn't hear it first from you. Actually, the first time I ever heard of it was actually from our old Chicago radio host, Jonathan Brandmeier, who was doing it and talking about it on the air at some point in the later Brandmeier years. And I did go to a doctor about a month ago, annual checkup.
Sure.
Okay. Got on that scale. Didn't like it. Didn't like it. And I realized, like, I thought after the move last year that I had shed. I've just figured. Like, there was a lot of work involved. I was moving constantly. I wasn't eating, a whole lot. It was a very stressful time, and I just figured that I did well. Not realizing that I hadn't really weighed myself in a good many months.
Sure.
Just had not set up a scale. Of all the things we set up in the new house, did not set up a scale. So at the doctor's office, saw him, tip that thing over, and literally I got on it and the thing tipped over. And I was just like, no, that can't be. And I've been prepared for it for a while, only because they said it's been, I think this might be the 10th anniversary of getting my gallbladder out. And I was told, because that, it loosens the restrictions, so to speak, on where food goes in your body. And it doesn't break it down as much as, just the way it is. So they said that you do gain weight after that. But I didn't really, it didn't really come to pass, at least not in the immediate aftermath. I think over the years, I probably put on maybe another 10 pounds since the gallbladder thing. I was at a certain weight, and I was just kind of always within, 3 to 5 pounds of it, one way or the other. Then the gallbladder surgery happened, and it got to a 3 to 5 pounds, but 10 pounds higher. And it was always just kind of there. And then I got on the scale at the doctor's office, and I wanted to kill myself. So,
I may have to edit that out.
Oh, do you really?
No,
oh, yeah. So seriously, I mean, that could be.
I think if you were really being serious.
No, I shouldn't even. Be joking.
Obviously, you're not.
I apologize to those with the depression issues right now. I do not mean that. It's just one of those turn of phrases that we're just used to. So anyway, I apologize. But I was just looking. I'm like, well, yes, I can watch what I eat. I can exercise. I can do all that kind of stuff. And the minor issues that I had at the doctor's office basically all came down to, well, you lose a couple pounds, you should be fine. The blood pressure, the pain in your hip or that kind of stuff, just lose a couple pounds, you'll be fine. Okay. So about 3 weeks ago, I was doing the research on it, and
it was like right after we went to the thing then?
No, well, the doctor's appointment was, I think, about a week after we saw Jedi.
Yeah. This was like a week later.
It was about a week later.
Okay.
Yeah. And so give it about a week after that, right about the time that I had like my blood test and everything, the follow up and everything, I started doing the intermittent fasting. And what that is, again, for people who don't know, it's you fast for 16 hours. I mean, there are different ways you can do it. The most famous or traditional method of it is you fast for 16 hours, and then you have a window of 8 hours where you can basically eat what you want. That seems a little precious. It's not like, you fast for 16 hours and you're hungry as shit, and then you just eat every piece of trash that you can find, for 8 hours straight. Don't look at it like that. That's obviously not what I've been doing.
You're still supposed to eat healthy in that 8 hours, or relatively healthy.
Yeah, relatively healthy. Not a pig. You can eat. Well, they say you can eat whatever you want. They do say that in my travels and researching this stuff. But obviously I don't. But you stick within that 8-hour window, and then in the 16 hours, it's not like you can't have anything. You can have water. You can have black coffee. Tea, just no sugar, nothing added to it. So you can have
decaf as well, right? No caffeine during the intermittent fasting.
No, you can have caffeine.
You can.
You can have caffeine. You can't have any cream or sugar if you're doing coffee. So I've been drinking black coffee regularly for. I'm not saying I like it. Not my jam, but I have been drinking it, and I'm skeptical of any diet system because I have tried many over the years, and sometimes they work, and sometimes I'm doing something by myself, and it's working well, and then it just spirals back in the other direction. I'm just like, well, what's the fucking point?
Right.
It's just and that's the discouraging part. It's like you're doing everything. It's like life. You figure you do everything right, it's gonna work out for you in the end, and that's just not the way life works. And
much like life too, everyone's dealing with a different deck of cards.
That too.
You might have a chromosomal issue, an endocrine issue, a heart issue, blood issue, liver issue, a stomach issue, bowel issue. Whatever. You could have cards that no one else has, and it makes it a little bit harder for you to do this or that, or makes it easier for them.
Exactly.
There are people that are whatever. Our age that are 140 pounds and are ripped all the time. And you're like, oh my God, you must work out and run 90 miles a day. And they're like, no, it's just the way my body works. And you're like, great, at 40-something years old, you look fantastic. Good for you.
Yeah. Congratulations, you won the
genetic lottery. Yeah.
Basically, I did not win that lottery, so and a lot of my job means sitting right here. So trying to be more active, sticking to the plan of the fast. I have not had any cheat days or anything like that, and goals. I have set a goal for myself for the end of this month based on where things are going, and I'm already halfway to that goal.
Awesome.
Yeah. So things are going in the right direction. I've had a couple well, that was a good day. Why did I go up 1.5 pounds? I've had a couple of those days that have pissed me off, but then I course correct a little bit, and I'm back to the lowest weight that I've been on this 3 weeks as of today. So I'm hoping that tomorrow will be a new low, and if that continues, I'm fairly confident I will be able to hit that goal by the end of August, and then start a new goal.
Right.
So again, I consult your doctor. I'm not that person. Intermittent fasting, I would not have started it if I had not seen a number of genuine success stories. And some people are just like, I just wanted to lose 10 pounds and did it for 2-3 weeks, and it worked.
The beauty of that too, and I'm not saying it's better or worse than anything else, but the beauty of that is, as long as you eat relatively decent, you're just changing when you eat.
Yeah.
So it's not really a diet as much as it is just sort of rescheduling your day.
Right.
So when you tell someone else diet, they're thinking, oh, now I can't have, my 3 cookies before I go to bed, or I can't, whatever. It's, whatever. It's not that. You don't have to calorie count, although that's when I run. I have a calorie budget and then I can eat pretty much anything, although I eat mostly healthy when I do it.
Mm-hmm.
I do a budgetary thing with calories. In this case, you don't even need to do that. You're literally just eating probably 3 fairly normal meals, but you're doing it in a window. So your body has to figure out a way to deal with that. Okay, I'm going to have no food or sustenance for 16 hours. It doesn't hurt you, blah, blah, blah. And this may not work for someone else.
When you're sleeping, too. I mean, it's not like you're doing that from 7 in the morning to, 11 at night. You incorporate your sleep pattern into it, and generally, give or take, my general schedule is usually like 11 to 7, 12 to 8 has become my window. And usually, it's not like I wait till, if it's a 7, I don't wait till 6:45 to, eat. And I'm like, okay, I'm usually not eating a whole lot in that 7 hours leading up to it. I just have a regular dinner time. And actually the earlier that you do it, the more time you're building to, and give yourself a window in the morning to walk. They said that there's a period between like 7 and 9 in the morning that, if you're on it, is like that, right at that window when your body starts going like, hey, I'm going to get rid of this crap in your body. So you do some exercise to stimulate it. And
you're burning the stored fat from the previous day's meals that you then haven't added to since 6, 7, 8 at night. Then you're sleeping, which you're burning calories. Then you wake up. You've had nothing in your gut, so all it has is whatever reserved energy you have, which usually is fat and sugars. Right. So then you go take a walk for an hour and then come back and start your day. And it's like, oh, okay, well, you're burning fat and sugars. Good for you. Yeah,
exactly. So it's working for me, and I said I have a specific number in mind for the end of the month, and then I have another number for the end of September. And if I can hit that number by the end of September, I'm going to be very happy. So, and that's what this podcast is all about.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Thank you.
It's hard changing. I have not started running again in a while. But Mrs. Fun has recently done, I won't name the app, it's not necessary, but basically, based on your age, your gender, some other factors, it gives you a budgetary amount.
Sure.
And when I do it, I burn 12 pounds usually in the first 2 weeks, but I'm also running and completely changed, I probably have 1 to 2 cans of pop a day still at my age, which is probably not the smartest move. But I usually cut all that out. And, if I have a treat, I measure it out. Well, I have this many calories, so if I want 5 cookies, I have to do this. Well, I would eat, a whole row of cookies. Well, now I'm only eating 5, and I'm staying under budget. Well, that's the thing is they're giving you a budget. I'm usually beating that budget they give you. Mm-hmm. But that budget they give you is already probably half of the crap I used to eat prior to the budget anyway. So just getting to the budget, you're already cutting, at least in my case, probably 1,200 calories.
Right.
And then if I eat properly, which is usually a lot of food, I mean, once you start eating more vegetables and clean meats and proteins and stuff, you gorge yourself and you're like, wow, I still have 400 calories at the end of the day. Well, you've already cut 1,200. Now you're really cutting 1,600, and then you do that every day, 7 days a week. You're not starving, and you're running and stuff, and so you eating the way you do, and probably eating a little bit better than you were used to as far as what you're ingesting, and then you're limiting your ability to snack at night and snack after dinner, and you're limiting yourself to this window. Once you're done with a meal, there's not a whole lot of room to shove more snacks down. So when you only have 7 hours to eat, it's kind of similar. You're just not having to worry about scanning UPC codes on stuff to get calorie counts and stuff like we do. But she's loving it. I'm on the loving it, but it's working, and she feels better. So.
Well, that's why it's working so much for me, is because I'm such a creature of habit that when you turn it into a scheduling thing and you just know that you have this window to eat, which is, it's weird that it's really not all that dissimilar from what I was doing before that got me to the bad weight. but there were more breakfasts. There was like now I'm just like, well, there's no time for dessert now, so no dessert gets cut out. So like a beginning the end kind of day is eliminated, and then the stuff like when you are in the fasting period where it's just coffee, tea, water, exercise kind of stuff. Cause I've never been a big snacker, sweets or salty.
See, that's my problem.
Sure. Sometimes football days or something like that. There's chips and salsa and something like that. But that's mostly like the extent of it. Every once in a while, it'll be chips and dip or something along those lines. But it's very rare. But scheduling, that's me. I'm a creature of habit, and that's what it's going to be. And if it continues to work, then I'm gonna stick with it.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, at our age, it's starting to get to the point where you have to start thinking of that stuff. Like, as much as I don't want to start running again.
Yeah.
Thankfully my job switched, so I'm being forced now to walk 60 to 70 miles a week as part of my job, and then in addition to that, lift stuff. The amount of lifting is considerably more than my previous career. So just changing that part of my lifestyle has netted I think it's like a 12 or 13 pound loss. But, when I'm running and really eating well, I could probably be 25 pounds lighter than I am, but my muscle mass is probably another 10 or 12%. And I used to feel great, but as you get older, like, I can't be running as much. My knees start to hurt now, all these weird little things. And you're like, there's a great, not to bring it back to Predator, but there was someone had posted a meme, and it was what the Predator sees 15 seconds after spotting me, and it's all these x-rays of like joints and stuff in the lot.
Yeah, you would kill us all.
Yeah.
You would kill us all.
But that's good. It's good that it may have been a bad thing that started it, but you made something good out of it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there you go.
Good for you.
So number 2 for you.
You and I have lately have been able to enjoy this together, and then I think we've enjoyed something in this milieu separately.
Okay.
And we never got a chance to talk about it, but it got brought up again. I rewatched it this week along with something else, which was Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, and the first 2 new episodes of Beavis and Butthead, the new series. And Mrs. Fun and I were sitting on the couch and looking for something to, I can't remember what, we had just started a meal. And I'm like, I just want to watch something quick and funny. And I said, I think the new Beavis and Butthead episodes are on. She's like, yeah, okay. So I threw the first one on, and it's genius. It's if you appreciate that kind of humor at all, which we clearly do, it feels exactly like old Beavis and Butthead, which is awesome.
So this was my number 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now you'll have to move it to 2. We'll talk about it. All right.
Yeah. I've only seen the very first episode.
Okay.
I haven't watched the second one yet. And honestly, I just watched it today. And because I had a publicist get in touch with me today and said, "Oh, I'd seen you had reviewed the movie. I wanted to see if you wanted to talk more about the show and review episodes of the show." No, I mean the first 2 episodes are on Paramount Plus, so I'm like, yeah, I'd love to talk more about Beavis and Butthead at any given opportunity. So there's a possibility I might get some extra episodes down the stretch. But no, I watched the first episode today, and it was just what I needed. The fact that just a few weeks ago there was talk of me possibly going to an escape room on a whim Morgan and I had talked on a whim going to an escape room after that Cubs game we went to. And as soon as that came up, I just immediately like, oh my God. And that episode is an all-timer.
Yes.
It's an all-timer. It's one of the best, most genius cartoons. And when they go the wrong direction.
Well, that's what, okay, yeah, that's
when they go the wrong direction. I'm just like, oh shit! I actually want to see them go into the other door.
No, you don't.
But no, when they go in, they go right. And how that they interpret that as the escape room.
Because it's pull, not push on the door. He's like, I don't know how to get out of here.
We can't get out. We're trapped. It's an escape room, dummy. I like the movie, but the 10 minutes of that episode plus the fact that they're doing like TikTok videos,
exactly.
And the TikTok and the college announcement video. The college announcement video just took me off my chair. The TikTok video is great too, and them doing the voices.
Yes.
And stuff. But everything in the cartoon, the episode part, is great. I didn't think Beavis could do anything greater with toilet paper than Cornholio, but the cut to Beavis with the toilet paper and why he says it's there, I collapsed. I was just in ecstasy watching this, and then it has a brilliant punchline at the end.
Even something as stupid as they cut, they're stuck in that bathroom, which is the most ridiculous thing ever, of course.
Yes.
And they're trying to figure it out. Like, oh, they wrote something on here. Well, of course, it's a bathroom stall, so something's carved into the paint.
Yeah.
It's genius. Someone eats balls. They're like, oh, he eats balls.
Jason eats balls.
Yeah. But they're cutting back and forth. So they cut out to, whatever they're showing, and then they cut back to them and the little interstitial stuff. But it cuts back at one point, and it's Butthead, right? No, Beavis. It's Beavis, and he goes, I even dressed up like a mummy, and I can't figure anything else. And they cut, and it's him. He's wrapped himself in the toilet paper. He's like, I don't know. I can't figure it out. He's dressed
even dressed as a mummy, and I can't figure out how to get out of here. and Butthead's got the one great line. He's like, Beavis, you mean well, but you're a dumbass. Yeah, it's just like, I think I figured it out. This mummy is disgusting.
And then when he hits him, and they hit the grate on the ground, and they're like, you figured it out. And then they crawl, like, Die Hard style through the grate, and you're like, these idiots are going to figure out how to, like, of course, the morons figure it out. They're going to crawl out and fall out of the side of the building or something, or fall into the mummy side or whatever.
Yeah.
Nope. They pop out the girls' bathroom. What's this thing? And like a vending machine, and of course, typical joke about the tampons and stuff. But like,
yes.
Brilliant. They don't make it out. They go into the girls' bathroom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said that the punchline at the end is great when Beavis asks when he walks out, because they're doing it to impress the two women,
right?
The two girls who can't get into the escape room unless they have four, and just like the shot of the shot of like the two girls and then Beavis and Butthead, and like these are the two geniuses that are gonna get them out of the escape room. There's just something perfect about the way that they frame the like. Okay,
because they're out, the girls are inside, and they realize they can't get in the escape room without two more. And in the background, outside of the store, they're on the sidewalk throwing cartons of milk and putting them on the street. So when the cars drive by, they run over them and they get squirted with the milk on the ground. And
laughing my ass off.
It's fantastic.
It was so what I needed today. It was so... Yeah, it was the perfect blend of stupid and genius, which is a hard thing to pull off.
Well, when I had told Morgan that was one of the things I was looking forward to was the movie, she's like, really?
Yeah.
We really need more of that? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Like, it's... And she's like, what is it? You know, I think she said something along the lines like, what did you get out of that? Or what, like, what, you know, like she obviously is not a fan. Fine. What, you know, whatever. To each their own.
Yeah.
But she's like, you know. And I said, but when you really think about it, you wouldn't have Daria if you didn't have Beavis and Butthead.
Mm-hmm.
It's all from the same minds. It's
Right.
not meant to, they're not the heroes.
Right.
Yes,
no.
you laugh at them and you appreciate the humor in it, but they're
Right.
they're idiots.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not stand-up members of the society. They're a moron.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of morons. And when you play off that like this, you know, it's
using idiots to comment on the idiocy of society is basically what it is. Because I mean, there are adults in the thing, but all the adults have character traits and picadillos that are, you know, annoying to smart people. You know, as you think about all the characters from the Beavis and Butthead show, the teacher, Mr. Anderson is the grumpy neighbor. You know, Todd. You know, that there's this subtext within there about. I mean, again, like you said, they're not the heroes, but we're able to view this part of America, for lack of it, and view it through this prism of idiots observing idiots.
And this is not Shakespeare. It's not high art. It doesn't have to be. And that's another thing sometimes people don't understand. Like it's satire, but it's also fart jokes, and that's okay.
Yes,
you can have an entire episode that's like a fart joke. Fine, 20 minutes of fart joke is fine.
Yeah,
and then the next one could be, like you said, a full-blown satire of something to make you not think. You're not going to be like contemplating things for 6 weeks about a Beavis, but like you said, their commentary about it, does it's I don't know, poignant's maybe not the right word, but it's interesting. Like you said, it's a lens to see it through.
Yeah. Well, you go back to the movie that we saw, Do the Universe, the new movie, and they have that entire section where they discover what white privilege is. Yeah. And so it's a commentary on the commentary of white privilege, but also what it means to people and how it exists and how people take advantage of it willingly, where most people may be unaware, just in an ignorant kind of way, of what they get out of being, not being a minority or a woman or, gay or anything. And the way that they're able to usurp that and turn it into an advantage for them pleasurably.
Yeah, because they love the whole, like, they literally walk around and goes, when he says to the cop at the one point, he goes, I don't know if you're aware, sir, but I have white privilege.
Exactly.
It's great.
Perfect.
Yeah, like
That's perfect.
Yeah. And you don't revel in it because you're like, yeah, he's my hero. I mean, clearly some people do.
Sure.
Yeah, you can appreciate Cornholio, but you don't look up to him.
No.
But he's hilarious.
Right.
And so when he makes that joke about the white privilege, Mrs. Fun, who happens to be a person of color, Mrs. Fun was like, "That's awesome." She loved the hell out of that whole part. Like, she was cracking up about it. Like, yeah, the movie is great. The commentary about the big the year difference and the future Beavis and Butthead, the smart Beavis and Butthead, where they yes, very very droll, very they fly, they disappear. It was it's and of course, nothing can be said about the new Beavis and Butthead stuff, the show and the new movie, without you and I laughed a ton at it, and Mrs. Fun could not stop laughing because I could not stop laughing, and when that happens, it becomes infectious, and she laughs at me laughing because she thinks I laugh funny. But when they go to the Space Center and they do the docking with the telescope to the Mir space station, blah blah blah, it's not. And that's the thing is, people think that's funny, and it is. They use the controls and the things going in and out, and of course, haha, dick joke, right? And it's funny because it's funny, and it's Beavis and Butthead doing it, and it's repeated over and over, so that's funny, of course.
Yeah.
But she caught on immediately that I wasn't even laughing at that part of it. What was I laughing at?
So I get two guesses here.
Yeah.
One, the fact that people think that they're genius for doing it. Is that not it?
No.
Or just the fact that they kept doing it over and over and over and over again.
That is part of it, but more so is this.
Oh, yeah. the stupid ass sound.
Just Beavis every time. Yeah, every time.
Yeah, every time. Yes, I said, God damn it. I said that when we reviewed the movie on Movie Madness. I referenced that. I said that very thing. Every time Beavis goes,
and they're all different. It's not repeated. He must have done 400 takes. They probably grabbed 22 of the funniest ones, and they just keep doing it. And that's what makes it funny. Is it's not the 10th one, it's not the 15th one. It's when they go back. It's like late at night, and they're still doing it. And then he's still
amazed by it.
And he's still
ooh. Yeah. He's just enamored.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I could not stop laughing. And she, of course, then was cracking up because I couldn't stop. And she just goes, she just looks at me and she goes, it's the ooh? And I go, yeah. It's I don't know.
That's almost one for the common knowledge show or the special shows. Because you and I are big fans of the
I know where you're going with this.
The throwaway background joke.
Yes.
Something stupid happens in the background, and you hear a voice or someone's, like a Fear of a Black Hat, for example. When
can we even say that one? I can't remember.
Oh, we can.
Yeah.
When we come in, the guy comes in and is like, okay, we've changed the lineup, and you hear a guy in the background go, "Oh, suck my ass, man!"
That's right.
You just hear in the background. It's not on camera. You don't even see who says it, but just the background jokes, and they happen in Airplane and Naked Gun and stuff like that.
Classic Steven Seagal movie.
Oh, my nuts! Yeah.
Yes, the background random noise commentary.
Yeah.
Always gets me if it's done right, and for the most part, they always are.
100%. Hot Shots. Hot Shots has one of our all-timers. When Carrie he enters the bar, and he picks up, I don't remember if he picks up Valerie Galino or somebody else. He picks her up, and he spins her around, and he hits the waitress, and the glass shatters, and you just hear her go, "Ah! My!" Off camera, in the background, throwaway joke, keeps us laughing for the next 6 minutes.
Yeah. But yeah, that movie was thoroughly enjoyable. Quick 86 minutes, according to Paramount Plus. I think it was 86 minutes. And you can't beat an 86-minute quick. Just.
Prey is under
funny.
100 minutes, by the way, too.
The what is?
Prey is under 100 minutes, too.
Yeah.
So good quick time.
But yeah, it's so nice to see him again. I could have worn any number of shirts. I have an awesome Dave McKean Sandman shirt, and then I also have a fantastic Cornholio shirt. But yeah, it's just, if you appreciate Beavis and Butthead at all, the second episode is not as solid as the first one. First one is, like you said, top 10 ever Beavis and Butthead episodes. Yeah. The second one's fun, and you're gonna like it.
Fire one, yeah.
And the brilliance, I thought they were gonna go back to music videos. I don't know why I thought this, because I'm a dummy. What I thought was, well, they're gonna license everything now properly, and we don't have to worry about this stuff. But then when it started, and the first thing they go to commentary over is a YouTube or TikTok video, I was like, of course that's what they're going to do.
Right.
A, there's not music videos anymore, but B, they have so much content to dig through.
Yep.
And Tosh Point Oh has been doing it for, they don't do it anymore, but like 8 years they did it. Like, this is exactly what they would be doing right now if they had a television or a phone. they would be making fun of videos on the internet, and it clicked within a second of seeing the cameras like ours right now, and them doing it. It was perfect, and like you said, they posted one. I don't know which episode it's from, not the ones we watched. They posted one on Facebook, the Paramount Plus account, and it was them tuning into an ASMR video.
Here's the thing. I have heard so much about that thing that I purposely haven't watched it because I wanted to watch in the context of the episode, but I have heard so many people lose their mind over that one.
I watched it at lunch. I saw it, and I was just like, all right, whatever. I just watched it. All I'll tell you, and I'm not going to ruin it, is within seconds, they're like, I think we have to talk really low, Beavis. And so the other one's like, I think I really enjoy talking like this. I'm not even going to tell you where it goes, but the rest of the commentary is done with them basically doing ASMR.
See, that's how you do it.
I won't tell you where they go with it because it's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, they posted that already, so I'm assuming that's probably the one they're going to post up on Paramount Plus this week. Okay. I'm making the assumption, or they wouldn't be showing it already, or they maybe already have, and I just haven't noticed it. But yeah, if you're a fan at all of Beavis and Butthead, definitely watch Do the Universe, and then watch no matter what that first episode, because that escape room episode is absolutely genius. Yeah.
Oh, so that was my number 3.
Yeah.
So I guess I have to go back to my number 2, which has a weird connection. Kind of. I'm really extrapolating its worth right now.
Okay.
To Beavis and Butthead in a sense, and when you're writing down these for the recap, this is a very broad thing, but I'm gonna explain it.
Sure.
And so my number 2, or now my number 3 thing is the thing that makes me happy. People who know what the hell they're talking about.
Please expound.
Yes. Probably not where you think it's going to go.
I imagine.
But let me tell you what part of what happened this week, and this is one of the many compounding factors. It was a bonus to my bullshit week that I've had. So sometimes Monday morning, woke up, go to my computer as I always do, start working. All of a sudden I was noticing my typing seemed delayed. Like I was having problems. I'm pretty relatively fast typer. And there was enough, it was like type, and then it would stop and it wouldn't catch up. So I'd have to go back and...
Oh, it didn't even do the 20 characters and then fill it?
Right. No. So it was like, what the hell? What is this all about? And the problem then started to compound over the next couple hours, which was really weird, in that it started my computer on Google Chrome. I would have trouble clicking on links. They wouldn't click, and open up. I would, in my taskbar, you've seen my insane taskbar at the bottom, and you know how many windows I'm working on at the same time. I would click on a program, so Microsoft Word. So I'd click on this file that I'm working on. I'd click on it, and instead of that restoring it and bringing it up so I could work on it, it would open up a brand new template.
Even from the taskbar?
Just from the taskbar. I would hit the thing and it would open up, instead of opening up the program or opening up the file so I could work on it, a new template, a blank template would open. And didn't matter what program it was, it would just open up a new window. Weird. Brand new, fresh window. And then it started doing the same thing in Google Chrome. I'd click on Amazon and it wouldn't open Amazon. It would just bring up a whole new tab with Amazon in it. And if I clicked on that, a whole new tab with Amazon on it. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I do what any normal person on the computer would do. I go to Google and I start looking around for what could, I start typing in symptoms like I'm on WebMD or something. What happens when you click tab and it opens new tab? And I'm seeing a lot of the same rhetoric, a lot of the same different forums, people, I have this problem. What do I do? And someone has an answer for it and all this kind of stuff. And most frequently, it would come down to there's probably malware on your computer. That there's something in there that is causing Google Chrome to open up new tabs when you don't want it to. So I'm like, oh, freaking great. Okay. It was a you never get relief when someone tells you probably have malware on your computer, but at least you know where to start aiming.
Sure.
So, but that also got me extra pissed because I have firewalls, malware blockers, programs that I pay for that are installed on my computer and working all the time. They're supposed to spot when some shit gets through. Now, I wasn't having this problem on Sunday at all. And Monday, not like I downloaded something into my computer that would have started causing this. And it's not like Windows installed a new update and was causing some sort of havoc with that. That could have also been an issue that I've dealt with before, and I've done a system restore and tell Windows to go fuck themselves. But that wasn't the case. I'm like, well, where the hell could this malware could have come from? I'm not stupid. I don't click on bizarre links. I don't click on. I mean, on Twitter, by the way, I'm getting, about 90% of my new followers are like OnlyFans, accounts.
Yeah.
They're like six pictures of some random person, and I report every single one of them. But I've never opened any of, I don't
Nope.
their links or anything like that. I just report them and block them and say this is spam and get them the hell off of Twitter. And so anyway, but again, all the advice was malware, you must have malware. Okay, so I started running scans, and I started having the one scan go through, and it said like you might have there are a couple things on here. Didn't seem like anything too crazy, but you might have a couple things that might be tracking you. It was more like tracking cookies type shit. Okay. It was like, look in your task manager, see if there are any programs you don't recognize. No, there's nothing there. See if there's any programs on your program list that's something you might have downloaded that you don't recognize. I've gone through this before with old computers, and sometimes I recognize something, delete, boom, gone. Didn't see anything like that. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Monday, it starts to calm down. Okay, it seemed that I did a reboot of the system after doing the scan. Seemed to go okay. Monday, I didn't have so much of a problem the rest of the day. Tuesday, I wake up, and not only does it seem to be worse, but it's almost like the End of Manhattan Project, where the bomb just is ticking off faster and faster and faster. It seems like there's a smaller window from the time I reboot the system to the shit starting to act up.
Sure.
To where tab, and then it took on a new wrinkle where I would try to click on a tab on Google, and I'd click something, and it would disappear. It would close the tab. Instead of opening a new tab, it would close the tab. So now I'm like losing shit in Google Chrome. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, click, and like Google Chrome closed. I'm like, what? Running files again, running scans again, malware this, clean this, reboot this, and I'm like looking, I'm like, and I keep having the keyboard problems with the typing problems. I'm like, well, maybe this is a problem with my keyboard. Maybe my keyboard is going belly up here. And I started looking at it, and like the number lock light on it, I would notice every once in a while would kind of go out and then come back on. I'm like, so I'm unplugging, I'm uninstalling the keyboard and putting in the new hardware and scanning for new drivers and all this kind of bullshit and whatnot. And I'm like, it seems like it's got to be the keyboard, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing pressed on it that could be causing this problem. And I'm going through this all day on Tuesday, about half the day. So while I'm investigating all this other stuff, I go ahead and I order a new keyboard from Amazon. I was supposed to get there last night. It didn't. But I ordered it as the precaution. Maybe if I just do this one thing, it'll fix everything.
Sure. Reasonable idea, too.
Right, exactly.
Maybe new mouse.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And, like, I even did this thing where, like, I did something, I noticed something when I would press something on the keyboard that, like, something would come up on the screen. Like a hotkey type thing. And I'm like, well, like, I never used, like, and it was just like I hit, like, the T button or the S button and search would come up. And I'm like, that's not supposed to happen. So, like, I disabled hotkeys on the keyboard. Again, I looked that up. People who know what the hell they're talking about. I looked it up and figured out how to disable hotkeys, which I rarely use. But anyway, so it was just like I thought I solved it. Like, it's all of a sudden seemed stable for a while. Went and had dinner, came back, started messing around with it. Typing started getting screwy again. The crap started happening again. I'm like, this is bullshit, and I can't deal with this right now. I'm looking up Best Buy. I'm looking up, do I have to have an appointment and all this kind of stuff? What kind of malware is on here that all of these things that I'm paying for can't find and is just screwing up my life right now? This is where I am, as much as 24/7 as I can possibly muster. And it's just a delay. I'm a race car in a red at this point. But while I'm waiting for the keyboard to show up, I'm like, let me look at these hotkeys for a minute. And I start pressing some of the hotkeys, and all of the ones they keep coming up. Search for search, or T, whatever that does, and whatever this does, and they're coming up. And I'm like, well, that shouldn't be happening if the control button isn't hit.
Right.
And I'm looking at the control button. Control button is not stuck. It's not compressed, either of them. And, like, okay. So I'm not saying I narrowed my search on Google. It was pretty standard what I had put in before that I put in again. But all of a sudden I find someone who knew the hell what they were talking about and said, you might have a compressed control key, but you might not even know it. It could be something internal in the keyboard that is causing the computer to think the control button is pressed, and, like, this is a common occurrence. All you need to do is hit Control-Alt-Delete. You bring up the little, do you want to end your computer or whatnot? You don't. You just hit Escape, and all of a sudden, everything was working again. Everything was working again. This morning, I got my keyboard, 6:30 in the morning. Amazon delivered it. I plugged it in this morning. 0 problems. It's the goddamn keyboard. Everyone on Google was telling me I had malware on my computer because tabs were opening on Google, until I found someone who knew what the hell they were talking about.
Yeah.
And not just, and I wasn't just finding the one just like, well, this might be a problem if you explore these 3 different things, and what you really need is the software that I'm peddling right now. Here's for this, and here's a free sample. You can get a taste of it, but then you got to pay for it. I'm already paying for, like, 2 things. Like, why do I don't need a 3rd thing. Those were up there too, but mostly it was people on message boards that just, like, the classic customer service, well, give up. I don't know. Your Johnson rod in your car. I don't know.
You need a Fetzer valve.
Right. Exactly. It's all ball bearings nowadays.
Hey.
Preferably Prestone. Make that Quaker state. That's right. Yeah. So find people who know what the hell they're talking about, and you can solve your computer problems probably most of the time. There you go.
There's nothing more frustrating to me than troubleshooting something that I don't have knowledge of.
Oh yeah.
I like I said, I built this computer. I've done electronic stuff in the past. Like So, when things start to break, and you've been, prior to starting a few of these, stuff has happened to the OBS software.
Sure.
Windows does an update and kicks some stuff off the audio settings on on Windows. And I'm digging. I know where to look. So I can go, in my head, I got probably 20 or 30 things. Okay, I'll check here, and here. And, I can appreciate the process when I have the knowledge. But, like, I'm by myself, I'm redoing our bathroom. And, there are things that pop up, like drywall issues and this and that. And it's like, I've put drywall on. I've built walls before, but this doesn't seem to make sense with this or that. And we have a mutual friend that was in construction, and so I'll take a photo and I'll send it, and I'll be like, why this doesn't make any sense. It's 5/8, but it's I bought half because that's what most drywall is, this and that. And and the person was like, well, check this and this. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to troubleshoot something and not having the list of functions. Go function A, function B. Go through these 5 things. Take this out, take that out, do this, start from scratch. Only plug one thing in. I can do that with a computer. I know enough.
Yeah.
Or stereo equipment, or basic stereo wiring, or certain electronics. But there, like you said, there's when something like that breaks, and you're like, this should work. I'm hitting it. My key isn't pressed. Like there's 40 things, and by the time you're searching on the internet. Half the time they're like, oh, there's gremlins in your computer. And it's like, you're not helping me. I just want someone, the easy place for me to go to be like, this is the exact, you want someone to be standing there that has the knowledge and go, here's my problem. Okay, check these 5 things. I wish there was an easy way to do that for everything.
Right. And I'm not an idiot.
Right.
But I like steps. Okay, and most people will give you steps. That's great. But sometimes you don't know how old those steps are.
Yeah.
And so you find a message board that might be from 2018. It's just like, well, here are your 5 steps. Go into the tools menu. Okay, cool. Find advanced. Okay, cool. Find data utilization tools. Not there. Because they've renamed it, or they put it somewhere else on the screen that you can't find. So now I'm like, well, where is data? Now it's called utilization and data priorities.
Oh,
something like but is that the right one? You just said use data utilization tools. Now it says data utilization of priorities and boobs. It's like what?
You were looking back at the Windows 98 troubleshooting.
Yes, I'm sitting there and the Rolling Stone song comes up. But there's some very select people who are going to get that joke.
They don't even know what Rolling Stones are, some of these people.
Right, exactly. Papa was one.
Nice one, also.
Thank you very much. But yeah, so that, it's just like, there's another, I'm not going to tell it now. I can tell you off the air. Just another story of just stupidity that I went through this past week that you just want to kill someone in customer service sometimes.
Mrs. Fun hates it when I got to call customer service, because this is part of that troubleshooting process is trying to figure out, look, I have an issue.
Yeah.
I know of 3 things that'll fix it. Can you help me? And if someone turn around and go on the phone, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And you're like, this is literally the number I'm supposed to call to ask that question.
Yeah.
Can you please help me? After the 3rd time of them, like, let me figure something out and get back. And then they come back. Yeah, nobody here knows. In my head, something breaks. And I'm like, then why is there a phone number?
Right.
Then I get mad at the concept of help numbers, not like a bigger idea than what is even happening. I'm like, then don't have a phone number if you don't have anybody there. And then I get mad at the idea that these poor people, and I've learned now that I'll start to kind of tense up and I'll raise my voice a little bit. I will specifically say now, and I don't always do it right away, which is my fault, but I never yell at them, or I don't think I turn into a Karen where I'm like, you're an idiot and I need to talk to your manager. It's never that.
No.
But I will get frustrated. I'm like, then why am I calling you? Like, I call this number. It says, you will know the answers. Can you help me? And they'll go, I don't know. And I'll go, Okay. So I might get a little tense, and then that's when I'll turn around and I'll try my best to say, look, I'm not mad at you.
Right.
I just would like an answer. This phone number on your website says this is the answer number. So is there anything you can do? Can you transfer to someone else? Can you ask someone else there? Is there some other number you can give me that I can call? Like, I'll then go over that, like, I just want the person who knows the stuff at the number I call, or at the place I go to, or at the thing. And so it's not, I'm not one of those people who's, I need to talk to a manager. And just like, fine then, can I have a different phone number? Yeah. Can you give me someone else? If you don't know the answer, is there someone else? Not the manager. I'm not going to complain about you. It's not that poor person's fault. You call them to try to get help. Same thing with the internet. You type in a search and you're trying your best. Like, okay, I'm on the official Windows website. I need to know why I'm getting my hotkeys an issue. And it's like, here, take this quiz. Send this thing to this. Email technical support. We'll get back to you in the next 48 days. And it's like, I don't have 48 days to find out why my hotkeys aren't working. Right. Is there someone I can even live chat with? I don't even need to talk to someone on the phone. Sure. Is there someone with technical knowledge that can help me? This says tech support, Windows helpline, live chat. Okay. Hello. Can I have some chat? Yeah, that's not my department. Okay. I don't even know why I bothered. So this was like, what, your fifth website, sixth, eighth, seventh website? You want to call this person out for having the knowledge you needed? Do you want to give them a shout out?
Yeah. No, it was random. It was completely random. And I don't even remember specifically what I typed in, because I kept typing, you type in questions like it's Ask Jeeves or something. And you're typing in like, why is Google Chrome opening tabs when I click on a tab? Like what, just stuff like that. And just like, why, when I just hit this without the control key, is that happening? And all of a sudden I get someone who's like, well, if you just hit Control Alt Delete, it should just go away. It should like reset itself, until it happens again. And it was just a random dude. I was watching YouTube videos, and then some of the YouTube videos with that was just crap. I mean, it was absolutely just crap. 2.5 minutes of nothing that I could have put a video out on. Yeah, I mean, so now we're veering into pissed.
Yeah, pissed
right now.
On Patreon.
Pissed on Patreon.
It sounds like almost what he was saying was, controllers, like Xbox controllers, they'll get something called stick drift. Okay. And so it looks straight. It looks like it's supposed to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. But if you leave it and you don't touch it and you start a game or whatever, your character will move.
Yeah, okay.
And so there's a fault. There's either dirt or something forcing internally that'll activate it. Even though it doesn't look bad, it doesn't physically look damaged. It just looks like that's... It just... It's the contact inside that's making that... So that's all that was for you? Was that your control internally had either gotten stuck or had...
Yeah, like something weird. Like here's the old keyboard, okay? And you can't really see it too well, but like there's the control key there, okay? You can see it's not, damaged or, pressed in anyway. It has the exact same, size of everything. It's... now granted, I use the control key a lot because I do a lot of copy and pasting and in the databases and stuff like that. So that it's used a lot, but you hear it.
It's got some click to it. I can hear it.
You can, click there, and there's one on the other side, too, which I don't use. So that should even be even better click. But yeah, so that was just, what the hell? And again, it's not like it was some dirt kind of issue because I come prepared with that shit. And so, I don't buy those. I learned a long time ago to stop buying just the spray cans with the compressed air. Sure. I just bought this mother.
Yeah.
All the time. Now, if you let it go for about a minute and a half, it starts to heat up and flame. So you don't want to have it going.
You don't want to burn your keyboard. Then you'll melt the keys. You don't want to burn
your keyboard or your hands, really. But it's actually it's a great tool. I use it frequently.
All the keycaps come flying off your.
Yeah, you put it back a little glue, it's fine. Yeah, a little extra effort, but your keyboard looks amazing.
There should be, there's got to be, I bet you there is, like a better search tool for computer tech support. I mean, I know there's, Reddit forums and all. Reddit's can be a good place, but they can be a little rough because if you don't say the right thing, then everyone's like, you're an idiot, and you don't need that because you're already upset that things aren't working. But the beauty is, imagine being that person 35 years ago, when like the Apple IIe you have behind you, or on an old Mac or an old PC, a 386 PC or whatever, like having that issue. You didn't have the internet. That's even worse. You didn't even have the ability to find that guy that had that knowledge that you have now. So if anything, the internet is your thing you love, because there's even though it took you 7 tries,
a lot longer.
2 days and 7 tries.
2 days, yeah.
You actually got a hold of somebody with some relatively ease. The internet allows you that luxury to be able to be like, someone on this planet must know why this is happening.
So within the hellscape that we live in, and the hellscape adjacent that is the internet.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Right, okay. You can find people that are out there who just want to help. They exist. And I think, it's weird even calling myself an optimist, but I'm the hope on this show. That there's more of that than there is the crazies. The crazies get the attention, but the people who are out there who just want to help their fellow man in whatever capacity that might be, even if it just means posting an answer to some random question on the internet without calling them a stupid asshole.
Yes. And that's the key there.
There's more
you got the help without also being called a stupid asshole. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword, but you got the you got the good side of it this time. Even though it took you 2 days.
Right. But could you imagine how pissed I would have been if I actually bought some extra software to try to...
Oh, yeah.
I would have taken that keyboard and smashed it, and I'm trying to think of the movie now where somebody uses a keyboard and smashes it, and it's just keys and teeth. I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to think. There was an old G4 skit where Kevin Pereira is called Home Road, and he hits him with the keyboard. I can't think of it.
It's not, I'm gonna hit myself for blowing it, but someone gets hit with a keyboard, and I think you see some teeth fly, and the keys definitely go flying. The face of the keyboard, if someone's listening right now and knows that movie that I'm talking about, shame on me for not knowing it.
The only Office Supply thing I can think of like that would be the beginning of Monty Python, but it doesn't have a modern day keyboard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like the paper cutter edge and stuff turns into a sword and all that.
No, it's like some action movie or someone picks up the keyboard as the only weapon they could find and smashes it and keys go flying everywhere.
What, the zombie movie?
Which one?
Zombieland? When she's in his apartment, does he hit her with a keyboard?
No, but maybe he does. I don't think she does. But
no,
it's not that. I think it's more of an action movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
I could probably type into Google right now.
Right.
Is the movie? Let's test that theory.
Okay.
See if I can type this in, and maybe I can find someone who knows what the hell they're talking about. What? We'll just try. What is the movie where someone gets hit in the face with a keyboard? See what comes up.
Yeah. What's the top 5 searches?
Well, that's not the one I don't think that's the one I'm thinking of, but the first 4 videos that comes up is the movie Wanted.
Oh God.
Angelina Jolie movie, which I hate. But there's a GIF. There's a GIF of someone getting hit with a keyboard. This can't be what I'm thinking of. I mean, it can't be. I've seen that movie once. It's garbage. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Huh.
Wanted keyboard to the face. It's on YouTube.
You know those keycaps are coming off in slow-mo if it's Wanted.
Yeah. So James McAvoy's walking out with an ergonomic keyboard, and he's going up to a guy, and it's Chris Pratt, actually.
There you go.
Okay, so it's definitely not. Okay, it's definitely not the scene I'm thinking of, but it fits exactly what I just said. Keyboard to the face, and there's tiles come in slow motion and teeth.
So
Not the shot I'm thinking of.
So what are we gonna put in here? Are we gonna call? I certainly like your people who know what the hell they're talking about.
That's
but
exactly what you put.
I think what I'm gonna put is you want to put that? I will. Crowdsourcing.
If you want to be sure. It's not as sexy, but I think I'm going to be using this phrase a lot on your show now.
People who know what the hell they're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I appreciate those people, as opposed to the people who don't know what the hell they're talking about, yet think they do. That's the worst kind.
Yeah.
High maintenance, but they think they're low maintenance.
Yeah.
Right. They exist too. But anyway.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But you have a number 3.
I do.
Yeah.
I know I've talked about my hopes for this. I actually let out a little bit of a hint a few minutes ago. My hope of this, and what, this is something that we talked on here a lot about things that fundamentally change your I don't want to call them epiphanies, but they're either people or art or media or whatever that fundamentally changes your thinking, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
Whatever. One of those things, I've collected comic books since I was, 14, so you're talking 34 years now. I've read every type of comic, every type of author, and one of the things that, from a kid, like I always say, that watched Super Friends religiously on Saturday morning, and Superman movie was, a high point in my childhood.
Yeah.
And most of our childhoods. Wonder Woman TV show. The Kirby, Marvel, and the Spider-Man, his Amazing Friends, and the Amazing Spider-Man with the Stan Lee narration.
Right.
These are all things that formed my childhood. But then at 14, when I found out, I knew what comic books were, but that there was something called a comic book store, which was also an invention of the late 70s and mid 80s. There was just a place for comic books you could go. It wasn't just the spinner rack.
Right.
Not only did that change my perception, but you go and you get the newest X-Men, the new this, the new that, and they had stories and things that were poignant or trying to prove a point or explain something, about what's going on in the world. People now still go like, well, when did that become political? Captain America was punching Nazis in the face in the 50s and 40s. So It's always been political, always has been. Superman was created by, two people who, Superman's always been political. It's, even the subject of comics has been political. When you take these could be very simple concepts of a guy in a suit punching some guy in the face, or I'm a hero, soldier, or I'm a mutant, I'm going through puberty, and these things can mean something. But for someone who was not a big book reader when I was a kid, this is a very long intro because this was how important it was to me. For someone who was not a big book reader, you can't give me a 400-page book with dense wording when I was younger. I can read one now and I enjoy them, but I'm like, I don't want to do this. I would put it down. I found a lot, like many other people, there's the Trinity. There's Batman Returns, The Dark Knight, Frank Miller. There's Watchmen, changed the concept of the hero always being the hero and stuff like that. And then was Sandman. And it changed everything as far as my view on comic books. It came from an imprint at DC called Vertigo, which was its own thing. Adult stories for adult people, or higher, more quote-unquote artistic or darker, or It didn't have to fit in the continuity of the DC universe. If it didn't want to, it could do its own thing and spread its wings and be weird. And, people had done it before. Alan Moore, the guy who did Watchmen, did Swamp Thing and stuff that preceded Sandman. But Neil Gaiman, starting his own thing, using concepts that had been in the DC universe for years, changing them, and creating his own thing on top of it, the Endless. The deities that all began with a D: dream, desire, despair, destruction, destiny. They overruled portions of the DC universe without having to show superheroes, although they kind of do in the books. It's these huge, bigger concepts. I grew up as someone who was a Lutheran who would go to church. That's a big, grand book. You read a lot of that. You learned some of that stuff. And so I got the idea of that, but that there would be these other, I knew about mythology and in the Greek pantheon and the Norse pantheon and other, cultures had pantheons of gods that did things, but this was this other thing, and I don't know why it was different. It just was. And if have you watched the show?
No, I haven't.
Okay, then I won't spoil it for you.
Okay.
Specifics.
I've been kind of waiting to hear what you said about it, because what I've heard so far, I've heard both halves of it. So I've been waiting to see what you thought of it before I dived into it.
I've been known to not purposely crap on other people's people's yums. I don't say they're stupid for liking it. I don't care what people like. I'm not going to say it. But if you ask me my opinion, like we've talked about, I'm going to tell you I don't like it.
Right.
And one of the things I've clinged to for two very specific things was the idea of pretension. Birdman.
Yeah.
And I love Michael Keaton. It just felt super pretentious to me. And then Nick DiGilio, we both, you know more than I. He was a huge fan of Magnolia, and again, I'm happy he likes it. I can't watch it again. I watched that one time in the theater, and I left, and I'm like, I just can't. It's just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it incredibly pretentious.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other movies, if I watched them, I would find pretentious. I'm not saying it's bad that other people like them. I'm happy other people like them.
Yes.
Looking back, watching the show and sort of looking over my trade paperbacks of Sandman now, because they're the easiest to get to, I'm sure someone will look at these things, especially the show, and say, wow, this is incredibly pretentious. I get it. And I know someone's going to, and that may be part of, well, it's slow, it's too brooding, and he's gothy and everything. Okay, this was written in the mid to late 80s when stuff like The Cure and all that other stuff was super popular, so you kind of go where it's going. But there's the beauty of the dreaming, and in essence the Endless, the brothers and sisters of the Endless, he is that one. He is the goth one. Desire isn't gothy. Destruction certainly isn't, either is Destiny. So it's focused on Dream, and he happens to be very gothy looking, and he's brooding. So that may be where I think I've heard people say, oh, it's a little slow for me, or this seems to be taking a while. That okay. Again, if they don't like it, they don't like it. All I can say is that what a typical look. I just showed you one. This is your typical comic book cover. Look. This is your typical comic book cover, okay?
Sure.
Right,
yeah.
Sure, right? Or you put Captain America on there, right?
Right.
This is a first printing of Preludes and Nocturnes, which is the first storyline of the Sandman, okay? This is my first printing. It's 30 years old. It's barely holding together. Okay. This is the cover to a Sandman book. An artist hand-built that, put the marble eggs in there, and then drew in these things and painted and did... Dave McKeon, I think, did this cover as well. Mm-hmm. This is not your typical comic book.
No.
And just looking at the art, and I'm only going to show a few pictures. But like this is it's an iconic picture from the trailer. So it's good that you'll see it. But this picture here, The Sleep of the Just, which is the name of one of the episodes, and you see him trapped in the circle, just like on the TV show, okay?
Okay.
This is not your typical comic book. It's dealing with higher concepts of these gods, you know, of the idea of something that embodies all destruction. Everything that is destroyed is part of this godlike person's realm, or under his control, or whatever. Destiny catalogs everything. Despair is the embodiment of every living thing's despair. It's not, no one's going to be punching someone in a suit of armor. And it's stories of love and loss, and these are all things that have been in books. I mean, other people can be like, oh, it sounds like Edgar Allan Poe, or it sounds like Shakespeare. Yeah, I wasn't a huge book reader. This brought those concepts to someone, which I knew they existed, but like it made it palatable. It made it interesting to me with the visuals by all these brilliant artists and stuff. It literally made Vertigo a place to go for adult-themed, interesting, out-of-the-box ideas. And this one in particular really changed how I viewed comic books, how I viewed stories, how it made me want to read traditional books more. Edgar Allan Poe. I have a couple volumes of the original Grimm fairy tales, the way they were originally intended, and not changed by Disney and all these other people to be happy. I have some of those I've read through. Like, it broadened my mind, and I'm sure everybody has a book or even whatever, a religious text, something written that has done that for them. This is mine, and they've done a really good job, as much as you can. If you have a comic book, they can draw whatever. Your budget is your imagination. A TV show, even with CGI and all that stuff, it's going to start getting expensive when you're dealing with an entire realm built of dreams where you could walk from one thing to the next. It could just be anything. It's going to cost them $1 gajillion to finish this thing, if they hopefully get through all of it. And they've done a really good job. The fact that you have, it's going to be a little bit hard to talk about because you haven't seen it, but there are literally whole sections of Neil Gaiman's script that are almost word for word. They went to him and said, you need to be part of this. This isn't an Alan Moore thing where you do League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which is also a very interesting comic book, and make a very crappy movie out of it.
Much better comic book than a movie.
And he's made series and series of them. It's, off of the idea of literary characters embodying and merging like the Avengers and doing the, but you think, oh, it's just a bunch of people punching each other. The comic books are not as actiony as that movie was. They've allowed this show to be slow and intentional and dramatic and weird and strange. And if they allow it to, which it appears they have, because there's an episode, and I'll only say the title, 24/7. It takes place at a diner. They've allowed it to be as weird, not all of it, because I think that would be too harsh for television. But much like The Boys is allowed to be as brash and in your face and violent and weird and sexually grotesque and all that stuff they want to spark in your brain, this is, yes, he's brooding, and yes, it's slow, but that's intentional. Mm. And there is an issue. I think it's only one issue. So you have like this story, and there'll be another one, and this and that, and then there would be these weird little interstitial issues. And one of them is just a cat's night out on the town. That was the issue.
Hmm.
If they do that, because again, it has to do with the dreaming. And so I can't even explain how that somehow intersects with Dream and Morpheus. If they allow that episode to breathe and do an episode of the cat, we breeze through it. We watched 5 episodes one night, 5 episodes the next, and Mrs. Fun loved it so much so that she's like, "Where are your old trade paperbacks? I want to start reading through them." And so we got the Preludes and Nocturnes out. This is the first one. And so she's like, "Where is it?" And so we went in my bookshelf and we found them. And I said, "Yeah, this is my old 30-year-old yellowing paged copy. Why don't you read this one? Like, it's fun." And so, there's, you've heard everything. You've Twilight Zone and Outer Limits and, old fairy tales, The Monkey's Paw, and, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. It's all of that wrapped into a comic book along with this idea of these familiar gods, but gods you don't know. It's not Zeus. It's not Jesus. It's not whatever. Pick your pantheon. Neil Gaiman made up his own. He made up his own pantheon. And just sort of just put a little pat of it on the top of the pancake that is the DC universe. It exists there, but it's not a superhero book. And there'll be little tinges of things you see and like, oh, that's right. There was a Sandman mystery theater. There was a Sandman character that carried a gas gun that would put you to sleep in the old comic books. This is not him. But it turns out that he would put them to sleep, and guess where they went when he put them to sleep? Neil Gaiman wove in this character like, oh, that's right. When he would put those criminals to sleep, guess who they would see? Little things like that. They tried to make a new Sandman character in the late 60s or 70s. I can't remember the year. And it didn't fly. It was horrible. He plucked that old character out, but not the character, the wife. And something that happens to her ends up impacting Morpheus 30 issues later. This character that nobody cared about from the DC universe. Not in a superhero costume, not punching out a Nazi, not fighting a big cosmic being. It was a story about talking and loss and death. His sister is death. The beauty, Mrs. Fun she doesn't know who Death is. I've shown her pictures. I have a Death shirt upstairs. All I can say is, there's you've seen my Facebook banner. I changed it to, which is Morpheus sitting on like a fountain at a park, and Death's just sort of sitting next to him, right? Mm-hmm. That scene's right in there. It's a little bit different. It's a park bench, but it's the gist is there. Death is not the Reaper. She comes and says hello. She even explains in the book and in the episode, I'm not ruining anything, how she came to the realization that she needs to sort of be this way. This is going to be the last person you talk to before you go. This is the heavy shit that goes in. And it was, I'm sure there's books and short stories and old things I don't know about. So I'm ignorant to those, and I'm fine with that. This did this for me. And the show, as much as it could, as far as I'm concerned, did it. And other people may not like it, and I get it. It's a little weird. It's fine, and you don't like these gothy or brooding, and I get that too. Yeah. I don't like pretension as much as the next guy.
Right.
But whatever it did it in the book. And now the show, right when we were done, you have all the comics, right? So I have trades right in the other room. Can we go get them? I want the first one. Immediately, Mrs. Fun wanted me to go get it for her.
Wow.
She's like, oh, so we have to wait? I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be a year and a half before the next season comes out. I go, the beauty is I have all the books. You can go read all 70-some issues. I then have a compendium book that goes along with it. I have a book of short stories Neil Gaiman wrote in that universe. He has then done the Dream Hunters since then, and an Asian themed one where Dream is in Asia and stuff. And I don't have a trade of that, but I have the issues. So like, there's so much stuff around there. The Constantine book, which she's a character, John Constantine. She's now Joanna Constantine. They changed the sex for the show. There's the whole Constantine book. There's the Lucifer book. There's there's all these offshoots. I'm like, this is the start of it. You start reading this, you're gonna want to read you may even go back to the Alan Moore Swamp Thing because there's callbacks to that in there. I don't know. It just, if nobody's ever read Sandman, you just need to go read it. This is as much about the comics as it is about the TV show, as far as I'm concerned. You just have to go read it. There's so many ways to do it. Go to your local comic book shop, Dreamland Comics, Libertyville, Illinois. Go see Charlie. He'll help you out. But, I have them, so you ever want to borrow them, you can read them. There's the DC Universe app. You can subscribe to DC Universe. You get all those comics. You can just read them on a tablet, on a computer. You can order them online. There's compendiums and things you can buy from Amazon and 9 million other places. You should read the books. But I really think you will enjoy the show for a whole nother reason. I'm not going to say it's the best TV ever, but it is really, it's good. We really enjoyed it. I think they really did it justice.
Well, you sold me. And I'm someone who, I don't read comic books like you do. You put certain issues and things in front of me, or series and things like that, and I read those, and that's pretty much the extent of it. Okay, but I'm familiar with Neil Gaiman's work through television and movies.
Stardust is a big one. Whether you like the movie or not, I know you don't, and it's not my favorite either. Right.
Well, here's the thing, is that Neil Gaiman's stuff, again, I can't speak to the written stuff, but it always seems to be that his stuff seemed to be very unadaptable to, and I haven't seen everything. I've seen Stardust. I've seen the first season of American Gods, which I did not like at all.
Mrs. Fun liked that a lot. I thought it was okay.
I did not like American Gods. There was a movie that did he direct? I know it was. I think he
Caroline.
Well, Coraline is good. Coraline is good. I think that's very good. Mirror Mask. There was a movie called Mirror Mask years ago. I actually saw it at Sundance in my apartment rental. Very late at night, we watched Mirror Mask, and it's got some really great visuals in it, but like as a whole, it just didn't quite come together for me. It's sort of in the Dark Crystal. I mean, it's not puppets and anything, but it's little girl goes in. Pan's Labyrinth might be a better example of a girl goes into a mystical world that's also kind of inhabited by the vision of who she believes her mother to be, kind of thing. If I remember this, it's been a long time since I've seen that. Didn't quite work for me. So again, with Sandman, I know the Sandman. I know because people talk about it. Okay, so I was waiting to see what people said. I know there are some people that are very high on it, and there are other people that are kind of like, So
just out of curiosity, I know it's been like slow. I've heard someone like, oh, it's a little slow for me. Like, okay, I get it, fine.
Those aren't the people I'm listening to.
So what was the bad? I don't know if I've heard it. What's the other thing you've heard?
I don't know specifics.
Oh,
I'm only talking. I've seen tweets that cover reviews, and I'm not going to read the reviews until I see the show or not see the show or whatever. But the people that I follow, which is generally people, I don't follow morons. So I've seen, people, that I know that really enjoy the show and think that they pulled off the essence of what the Sandman comics were. And there are other people that didn't think that at all. So,
well, here, there are some people, much like other things we've discussed on here and your podcast, they're very upset that maybe a male character was switch gendered,
Again, I don't follow idiots.
I understand,
Yeah.
but again, there's that wave, and so it may affect others' thinking. There's other people that are very upset certain characters were race changed because they just said, look, this is the actress we liked, and too bad. You know, they're very, you know, Lucifer in the comics, I think, you know, more so than not looks quote unquote male. And they cast Gwendolyn from Game of Thrones. What?
Gwendolyn Christie?
Yeah, from Game of Thrones. She plays Lucifer.
Okay.
But man, when you see her, doesn't matter. It does. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter. Yes, if you want to read the comics, you go, that doesn't look exactly the theme of it's fine. The way she looks is fine. The devil wings look fine. Like, she is pulling it off. Whether you want to say, you know, whatever, she's very intimidating. She's very tall in comparison. She feels the part. You know, I think there are people, some of them are focusing more on the quote-unquote changes than
could be
the themes behind what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
John Constantine is this smoking, brooding, asshole British guy with a trench coat. You know, this thing. Joanna Constantine, we now finally know, put to rest exactly how you're supposed to pronounce it. Constantine is a woman, shorter stature, it doesn't appear to be a heavy drinker or smoker. She's not doing any of that at all in the episodes. So people are like, see, it's not my Constantine. So it's like, okay, so now you don't like it only because of that? The gist of it's there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's maybe clouding some of the stuff you're hearing. All I'm saying is it's possible.
It's very possible. I didn't want to read specifics because I didn't know if I was going to watch it or when I was going to get a chance to watch it. I'm really behind on a lot of stuff actually. So
it's 10 episodes and they're each just shy of an hour, I think.
Okay.
So it's a lot.
It's a commitment, definitely.
But the beauty is, and that's the thing that my argument is, it's not like, again, if you changed Morpheus to a midnight or a noontime garbage man who talks to neighbors, then I'd be like, oh, this is ridiculous. This is not Sandman. Right. I don't know what you're talking about. This is not the character. It's okay. So it's only 96% accurate. Whatever. You know, I may be the guy arguing about the garbage man Sandman. That's not my Sandman, but you know, it does it. Again, you tell me, you watch that death episode. When he goes and talks to his sister. By the end of that episode, if you don't feel something, something's wrong with you, as far as I'm concerned. And I think you will get the impact as well. And if you don't, okay, it is what it is. But it impacted me. Mrs. Fun was on the couch. She looked at me and she's like, I'm about to cry. I mean, it's not Shakespeare, but she felt something.
Yeah.
And it that's what you're supposed to when death was talking to you. So I really enjoyed it. Say you don't like 2 or 3 episodes. This is as much about the comic as it is about the show. Say you're 2, 3, 4 in, and you're like, look, I can't do this. There's a million ways to read the books, and there's so much stuff. This is only one of 7 volumes. Then there's the two death stories, High Cost of Living, and there's another one. Then there's the 2 stories that take place that he wrote after the 7 books. So there's those, the Dream Hunters, and another one. There's the Compendium book. There's his book of short stories. And then you got Swamp Thing and Constantine and Lucifer and The Dreaming, it's called. And so there's so much more stuff. If the show doesn't hit you, I beg you, please, to get Preludes and Nocturnes or get it somehow or read it digitally. And I think one or the other will grip you, and my hope is that it'll grip you as hard as it gripped me, because it literally changed my view of comic books and reading, for that matter, for the rest of my life. And so,
there you go.
The show's good. I like it. So I really, when you get the time, it would be interesting to see what you have to say about it.
I'm definitely gonna put it on my list of. It's a long list, but it doesn't mean it's gonna be last in line. I've put it on my list.
Cool.
There you go.
We only have about 10 minutes, I think, before my megabyte limit on my podcast has an issue. But we
right.
have two things, yours and mine, what we're looking forward to.
Yes. Mine was just announced today, so it'll be sometime in the future. I don't know if it's going to be the end of the year. I know they've been working on it apparently, but they just announced that it's been in the process of happening. But there's going to be a 2-part documentary. There's a lot of really interesting documentaries on Apple TV coming.
I think I saw this. I think I saw the article. Go for it.
It is going to be a 2-part documentary on the career of Steve Martin.
Yep.
Yeah, and Steve Martin, one of my, I think, 7 out of 10 people who know anything about comedy would probably say that Steve Martin is on like your Mount Rushmore of at least comedians within your lifetime, I suppose. I mean, there's a whole grand history of comedians, but I mean, his stuff, the way that he's evolved over time, his early stuff is still legendary. So many movies that he's been a part of, Only Murders in the Building now that I think is absolutely incredible. And it's being done by the guy who did the Mr. Rogers documentary.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, Morgan Seville is his name. He's a very good filmmaker. It's going to be a 2-part thing on Apple TV, and it's a shame it's a shame that I have 2 very close friends that have had bad run-ins with Steve Martin.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to I'm not going to get into them here, but it hurts when I hear stories like that. Never meet your heroes, that kind of thing. But as I say so often when I review movies, bad guy, good movie. It's, 2 things can be true. And I'm not saying Steve Martin is like some demon or something like that compared to a lot of people out there, but he's been shitty to a couple of people that I know. Just general politeness, I guess. But doesn't mean that I don't think that he's one of the great humorists of our time.
For a guy who's quote unquote old,
right.
The guy has mastered Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Better than most guys his age.
Brilliant on Twitter, brilliant on a banjo, brilliant writer.
Not just brilliant.
Yeah.
Damn near, I think he was like 3rd on the planet of banjo players at one point.
Yeah.
He is absolutely fantastic. His what is it, the Rangers? Something in the in the Mountain Rangers or something, his band.
Yeah.
Fantastic. If you can tolerate banjo music, which I can on occasion, I really like it. But his stuff is, he'll just throw up on Twitter or on YouTube. He'll just throw up like, oh, I was just going to do this. And he'll just start just blasting away on and he's amazing.
Yeah.
And smart as a whip. My brother had the gatefold album cover for the concert with the bunny ears, where it looks like he's shot behind Vaseline, so it's a little blurry, and you pull it out and you see the whole stage on the inside and everything. I used to look at that thing all the time when we were a kid. Put it on.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to blow out your bandwidth here, but it's we've followed his career for so long. He was around when we were high. And he was well before that. His book, he hasn't written a lot of books about his career. He just hasn't done that kind of stuff. But the book that he wrote about his time in stand-up and growing through vaudeville and all those things and whatnot is one of the great. It's short too, but it's one of the great showbiz books that I've ever read. It's wonderful. And so to hear, we just got Carlin get a 2-part documentary. Gary Shandling had one, which was amazing. This is what I'm talking about. These are the Mount Rushmore type people of our lifetime as far as in the humor game. And Yeah, I really can't wait for it. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be amazing.
Before that happens, I don't know how you'd be able to get a hold of it unless you're an XM subscriber, but if you want, A, you should get the book and read it, but B, if you want to hear him talk about that stuff live in more of an impromptu fashion, again, you have to be a Stern fan, which I am, but you have to be a Stern fan. But Stern does a fantastic 2-hour interview of Steve Martin. He finally got him on. And now he's come in a couple times. But he does a fantastic 2-hour interview with Steve Martin where Steve Martin goes through him working. All he wanted to do, he got a job at a fairground near his house or like a place just so that he thought that was stardom because he grew up in not in the middle of nowhere or something and worked his way up to being on a writer on the Smothers Brothers show and stuff. And he talks about all the background stuff, like who he taught, how he got the jobs and everything. So whatever you don't get in the book, odds are it's in that interview because Stern usually gets that kind of stuff out of people. It's a really good interview. Yeah,
I'll have to look for that.
So again, I'm sure it's on SiriusXM app if you're a subscriber to that, but if you're not, it might be on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, and there's no date set for this yet, but Apple has announced a bunch of other documentary series. There's going to be one of Sidney Poitier that's coming out, and there's also another one. I don't remember if Morgan Seville is involved with it or not, but there's going to be one on Michael J. Fox as well.
Wow. Okay.
So there's a couple major things coming to Apple TV, and they've been doing some. There's been some great stuff on Apple TV.
Awesome. Yeah, I did. I read that article today, or a tweet, I think, that announced it, and I was like, oh, that's great. Yeah. I didn't know the guy who did the Mr. Rogers one was doing it, so that's double awesome.
Yeah. Very good filmmaker.
Well, that one of these days I'll talk about Mr. Rogers on here, but it's, that documentary tore me up. I was bawling by the end of it, so it's, well, again, something to look forward to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mine isn't nearly as poignant as Sandman or the legacy of Steve Martin's amazing career. Mine is a silly thing. I've been playing a lot of Battle Royale games, Apex Legends, what's the other biggie? Like Warzone and some other stuff. Basically, it's these things where they drop 60 to 100 people on a map, and you work your way by gathering items. And the cloud or whatever keeps pressing you closer, and as you eliminate people, oh, you're the one guy left, or you're the team of 3 that are left. You did it. There's all kinds of them now. There's what was the other one they just had? Oh, they have one that's dodgeball themed. It's ridiculous. Anyway, they have one coming out tomorrow. I just was reminded about this yesterday, and then it turns out it's only 2 days from now. It's called Rumbleverse. There's no guns. It's only melee. So it's either hand weapons or you punch people. But more importantly, and you get the name for the word rumble, it's wrestling themed. And so as you upgrade your character, you do more and more devastating wrestling moves. And so I will, like I say always, I'm going to put links to everything we've talked about today in either the audio broadcast or down below in the notes for the video. But there'll be a link to the trailer. It looks like a giant, crazy Saturday morning cartoon. It drops, in this case, I think only 40 or 60 into the arena. It's these large cities, and they kind of start you out in a different area. But the idea is you just run up and, there's basic punching. And I saw a guy with a big, so the red plastic bats when we were kids? Yeah. In this case, it's more like a regular bat, but it's big and weird like a cartoon one. And, he cracks the guy and he flies like a baseball, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But to show the true melee and wrestling silliness of it, at one point a guy is on a roof and a guy jumps up there somehow and they're punching each other out, and the guy must somehow, either you get the moves or you learn the moves, or as you gain experience to survive, you do it. He grabs the guy, puts him in a hold, jumps off the roof of the building and smashes down in the street 8 stories down, and then you see a big puff explosion of dust and debris like that. And I'm assuming that was a powerful enough move to then eliminate that guy. Now he's no longer in the battle royale, and that the guy that did it to him survived. But it's all these weird I saw a guy jump off a car with an elbow and land on the guy. So it just seems completely stupid. And a lot of these games now come out, they last for 3 months and then they go away because Apex is huge and Warzone is huge, and you just don't have enough bandwidth to play 14 of these things. But it comes out tomorrow. So while I'm at work, I'm going to hurry up and download it. And then when I come home, I'm going to stream it. I'm going to stream just seeing what it is and trying to elbow people off of building roofs and stuff because it's so stupid and ridiculous.
Nice.
And I want to give it a shot because it looks so fun and dumb. So yeah, it's called Rumbleverse, and it's what they call a free-to-play battle royale. So you don't even need to buy it; you just download it, and of course they get you with microtransactions. Hey, you want to make your guy look like a chicken when he does the elbow? For $2, you can dress your guy up like a chicken, or whatever. That's how they make their money. Sure. So again, you can spend no money and probably enjoy yourself completely fine, or you can spend $10 and make your guy look like a robot, or when you punch, nice. Sparks come out of your hand or something stupid. But yeah, so I'll be streaming that tomorrow if you want to tune in just to see the stupidity of it. And yeah. So I'm gonna recap really quick. We both talked about Prey because you've seen it before. But really that was my thing. I super enjoyed it. Obviously you did too. Yeah. You can watch that on Hulu. Intermittent fasting and taking care of yourself. Fixing your diet, not necessarily being on a diet, but fixing your diet.
Right.
Beavis and Butthead, which you did get a link to, so I'll hit the promo button. But
I didn't get a link to it. I watched it on Paramount Plus. I talked about a publicist.
Do the universe.
Oh, do the universe, yes.
So technically, we talked about both. So you did technically get a link to that. So in this case, but Beavis and Butthead, both the couple new episodes, and the Do the Universe movie, which are both on Paramount Plus, are hilarious.
Right.
We've been fans for a long time. People who know what the hell they're talking about and where to find them, which is usually now the internet.
That's right.
You have to swim through the chaff. Swim through the chaff to get to the amulet. Speaking of amulet, the Sandman, both the comic and the TV show, which is on Netflix. As far as I'm concerned, you'll like one or the other, and you should definitely, no matter what, read the comics and everything associated with them, because I just think they're absolutely amazing, and they really did change my life, 30 years ago when I read them. Yeah. So, he also happens to be a friend of Tori Amos.
Yeah.
So that doesn't hurt because Tori Amos is great. Steve Martin doc on Apple TV got announced yesterday or today, but I know I saw it today. So yeah, that's Apple. I can't wait for that. And then tomorrow we're gonna be dropping some elbows on some fools virtually in Rumbleverse, free to play. Yeah. I think it's on everything: PC, PlayStation, Xbox. I want to say it's even on Nintendo Switch. And I believe it's cross-play, so it doesn't matter what you play it on. You can play with everybody. Yeah. So that's fun now, too. So thanks again. Really do appreciate it. And at the very least, we'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm going to try to figure this all out.
Definitely will.
2 weeks. Thanks for watching, everybody. Really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, make a comment on the audio or the video here. It helps. And we really do appreciate it. And make sure you listen to the Movie Madness podcast, which is Erik Childress' podcast, and then the Friendship Dilemma with him and Morgan, who's also been on here. You can get those on iTunes and Spotify. So please make sure you do that as well over there. So thanks, everybody. Bye.